other things that people are very passionate about that are terrible?
Twilight?
Yeah.
No, it's different.
Okay, how about
I need to think. Wait. What?
seafood?
First of all, seafood's great.
fucking terrible. Why would you eat things that come out of the ocean?
Coffee.
That's the worst.
All right, let's go.
Chocolate, huh? Fuck that, right?
What?
Why would you eat something that tastes like poop?
The nation.
What's wrong with all you people?
The
What's
nation
wrong with
of
your
Switzerland
chocolate?
are
Chocolate
like,
tastes like
you were like a
poop.
little kid, and someone was like, "You got chocolate all over your face. It looks like poop. You're poop face." And that like poop face. It like scarred you as a child, and ever since then you've never liked chocolate. It's got to be some weird mental thing. Everyone loves
Yeah.
chocolate.
No.
You took a bite out of a turd
it's
instead of a
at the
Snickers.
moment
Yeah.
chocolate touches my tongue, it tastes like poop.
That's not a
But,
thing.
like, that's not
How
true,
do you
right?
know what poop tastes like, Nick?
That's not true, right?
That's the real question.
That's the
You're not like some weird.
who's poop?
It tastes like poop.
The point is,
I've got a very refined palate.
I taste
and
chocolate-
that tastes like feces.
and it does not taste good. How's that? It just does not taste pleasant to me.
You
at
know,
all.
that
Tastes
the
like-
average person can develop a taste for anything by eating it regularly.
I've been
10
trying to
15
force
times.
myself to like chocolate from almost my entire life.
How many times have you actually tried chocolate?
A lot.
How many times?
I don't-
If you had to guess, like it's the end of your life. You die today. You go to the pearly gates. You consult the book
Well, it
of
doesn't
life.
matter, 'cause no
you
matter-
ask it how many times you've eaten chocolate in your life. What does the book tell you?
Well,
47.
no, I mean,
12?
No matter what I say, you're going to tell me that's not enough. To
It's not
develop a
enough,
liking.
Nick. You got to do more.
is it a 2 or 3 digit number?
It's probably a 3-digit number. Probably over 100 times in my life. I've tried.
I don't
chocolate.
believe that.
No, I've tried plenty of chocolate.
All right, this
I like
conversation.
white chocolate, but that's not chocolate. It doesn't taste anything like chocolate.
Oh, he likes white chocolate.
What's the matter with dark
That's
chocolate,
just-
Nick?
that's
I have
just-
to
that's
answer
just-
your
that's not
question,
even
Skyliner.
chocolate,
I
that's
have
just
tried everything from like
cocoa
horrible,
solids.
shitty, like crappy chocolate you buy at the at the checkout, all the way up to like really fancy like chocolate bars.
What do you feel like? How do you feel like about it? Like a real dark rye bread?
Pumpernickel, perhaps.
I don't know. I don't think I've had enough to form enough of an opinion about it one way or the other.
I see.
Yeah.
You have no friends, no dark bread friends. Wait, how do you feel about white bread?
Oh, I
Like
love
when
it.
you go to Outback Steakhouse.
I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, Brad. You're trying to
Nick.
you're trying to paint me in a certain light.
Nick, if
You
you
get,
ever,
if you get
A
some
white
chicken,
light, you know what I mean?
if you get some chicken, do you go to the breast or the drumstick first?
The breast.
Don't
Yeah.
like dark meat.
Not
All
particularly.
about that white meat, huh?
But you should see my porn.
it's a lot
All
of
the
white-
flavors of the world. Is that what you're saying?
every color penis you could imagine.
It's the Baskin Robbins.
I do not discriminate when it comes to cock.
It's a rainbow of dicks.
Oh my god. That's disturbing. Okay. Are we ready to start now?
Once they're sitting on my face, I can't see anything anyway. It's all black to me then.
Oh, wow. This is all going in the video. It really is.
No, this just needs to be a highlight separately. It's just holy shit. Oh my
Taste the
god.
rainbow.
The Rainbow of D show.
Taste the rainbow. All right. Can we start this fucking podcast officially?
You're welcome to.
Oh, I can't do it. Brad, take it from here.
No, Nick, you got this.
Okay, welcome to 4Player Podcast, everybody. It's a special spooky Halloween edition. Episode 477.
We should have dressed up.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Well, we dressed up last week for our 24-hour horror game marathon.
We celebrated Halloween.
Yep.
We celebrated Halloween in a pretty fun, exciting way, I think.
Yeah.
Last Saturday we did a let me first introduce this. My name is Nick Henderson, joined today by Brad Simons.
That's me.
Christopher
You mean Sanic?
Guthridge
Hey, what's up?
and Christopher Davis
Howdy doody.
on the other couch. Nolan is out of town this week.
Howdy doody.
He'll return.
Even that's fucking old, man.
Oh my god. Focus, people. Focus.
All right.
First of all, I just want to start by thanking everybody who tuned in for our 24-hour horror game marathon this previous Saturday. It was a lot of fun. We played a lot of horror stuff.
That was fun.
Stuff we're going to be talking about tonight.
Stuff that we're going to be talking about
Pants
on this very
were shat.
podcast. We had our first serious broadcasting session with VR, with PlayStation VR, which was fun. We'll talk about that. Played a few games there, and it was a lot of fun. I finally got to play some Fatal Frame 5, which was nice.
That was good.
Even though that was literally the tail end of the marathon, and I was struggling.
At 5 in the morning,
Really?
we're all sleep deprived.
Really struggling to keep it together by the end of that 24-hour period.
That was a rough one.
But thank you to everybody who tuned in at one point or another. We had a lot of fun. There's still a bunch of highlights coming from that you'll probably be seeing those for the next couple weeks, to be totally honest, on our YouTube channel.
Jaeger and friends. I say that. That's not what I mean. All the 4-player editors, like Locked and Smelly, and they've all been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Cutting clips.
Yeah.
And Jaeger's
Good
been
stuff.
getting them up on YouTube, and they've all
Let
been
the
doing a great
record
job. I want to give them a big thank you.
Yes, thank you guys very much for that. I think it's, people are like, they took a nap. Nick took a nap. People were. I said I was going to go take a nap during the broadcast. People were doubting my ability to get back up. You know what?
Yeah, back up.
I got back up. That was rough, though.
Yeah,
That was super rough.
that was really rough. I was only going to sleep for like an hour.
I remember
You guys
being there,
let me
like-
slept for like 4 hours.
I remember being awake again for like a split second and then being like, this is good. We're good. We only have 6 more hours. And I just wanted to just die right then and there.
It's good stuff.
Oh my God. But you know what? I guess not surprisingly, when wearing that VR headset, it's hard to fall asleep. It really is. So I played some VR right after that nap, and it really helped.
Well,
Really helped.
everything you played was adrenaline-inducing. So.
Yeah.
It was
to a degree.
It was a really fun day. I've done a fair share of lengthy marathons like that now, and I think this is one of the best.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I had a good
Came
time.
together rather than we carved pumpkins.
Yeah.
We played all kinds of horror games. We
Got
dressed
out
up.
of
It was fun.
Got
It
out
was
of that
fun.
comfort zone a little bit.
Brad put together a wonderful looking Halloween couch
Thank you.
for us. That was fun.
was a
We had
nice
some
couch.
dry ice. There were wet wieners involved.
That went into people's mouths.
Was
yes.
did you do that to me while I was in there? When I was recording
No.
footage?
No, High came up and
that's
started
right.
licking you.
Hi
and we were
came
like,
up,
"What's
started
going
licking
on?"
my face, and I didn't know what it was. So yeah, anyways, we'll talk about VR. We'll talk about a bunch of the horror games we played here in a moment. But before we do that, I want to get to some feedback from last week's episode. We talked at length last week about the announcement of the Nintendo Switch, so I think you'll find a lot of these comments are revolving around that.
What was
Who's ready to revisit
what was
this
the game show
conversation?
where they were like switch, like people switched?
I think it was called Switch.
What?
No. There was a point where it was switch, and people had to switch.
And then
Switch
they
what?
switched.
But I don't think the show was called Switch.
The only word you've used to describe this show is
It's
Switch.
Switch.
No, but that's because that was one of the things they did on the show
Okay, what
to
else
like
did they do?
change positions or something. I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Well, if the answer-
chat to say switch.
If the answer
switch.
comes to you while
People
we're
had to switch.
discussing, please
Yeah,
interrupt me and tell me what it is.
sure.
Our first comment from last week. By the way, if there's anything that we talk about during the podcast tonight and you would like to chime in on it, feel free to leave a comment on the post at 4playernetwork.com for this episode, and we'll get to it at the beginning of next week's show. Our first comment comes from Ichis Kid, or E-Cheese Kid. I don't know how it says.
Cheese kid.
Remember,
Cheese Kid.
a lot of this is going to be centered around the Switch because we talked a lot about that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But there's some good points being made, some good thoughts being thrown
Bring it
out
on.
there. so-
Just fucking hit me with it.
All right.
I know where
He
this is
says,
going.
when I first bought my Wii U back in September of 2014, I decided to go all in and purchase every game I wanted digitally on a 256 gigabyte flash drive. The load times and convenience are wonderful. If the Switch allows me to simply have my entire library on it, it's a no-brainer for me and I'll be purchasing it day one. However, if my gamble doesn't pay off and there is no digital backwards compatibility, there's no way I can justify buying the Switch as well as all of those digital games, which are still $60 a pop, by the way. And they really have. This is one of those things that they haven't really. We already know there's not going to be backwards compatibility with like physical media because there's no disc slot. They use cartridges now, so obviously you're not going to be able to pop in your Wii U discs. But they haven't really been forthcoming yet about digital backwards compatibility, and they've already said that we're not going to hear any more news about the Nintendo Switch until January, I believe, of 2017. And I would imagine that's probably going to be worked in somewhere in there where they're going to talk about online functionality.
Maybe they're going to sell a separate hard drive that you can hook up to your Switch.
Well, there's a problem there, though. Certain games for the Wii U require you to, for example, like Zombie U, you're picking up the tablet controller and you're looking around the room, right?
Yes.
Okay. That damn new system doesn't have a camera that can track that.
Well, that's weird.
So it's a question of, can games that do certain things like that require tracking of the tablet?
I don't think you're going to see
Whether
any
you can even do
backwards
that.
compatibility.
I
This
don't.
is a different
I
system,
think this
man.
is going to be a totally.
I think they're completely getting away from that shit.
Yeah, I this is one of those situations where I probably wouldn't recommend trading in your Wii U to pick up a Switch if you still want to play your Wii U games. 'Cause I don't think, digital or physical, I don't think you're going to be playing any of those games on the Switch.
Now that being
one
said,
way or another.
there was a report last week that the showings of Splatoon and Mario Kart were actually, they're not full new like Mario Kart 9 and Splatoon 2. Supposedly those are probably going to be like expanded ports for the system.
Oh, good lord.
So
Oh no, we can't do that right out the gate. Okay.
That's exactly.
probably.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
probably what
they
they're
might.
going to do.
Our next comment comes from Slardacity. He says, on the subject of hinges with
What a
the
slard ass.
on the subject of hinges with the DS family, every single one I've ever had got loose hinges after about a week or two. And I try to be very careful with my handhelds. We had mentioned
Loose hinges.
loose hinges last week. I have not had this problem with the 3DS. I don't know about you. It happened to every single one of my pre-3DS DSs. Hasn't happened to me with the 3DS. Maybe that's just because I'm super hyper aware of it
The
now,
original
so I'm
3DS was super loose.
I'm
yeah.
very cognizant when I'm closing my 3DS one way or another. so-
Original and DS Lites were like especially bad at that.
Yeah.
No, the original, the gray DS, that thing was solid. Right?
No.
I mean, that's like also the heaviest, like
The
the heaviest
wait,
lid
you say
of
the
any
gray
of them,
DS,
too.
like the original DS?
Yeah.
Dude, that thing, I can't
floppy
tell.
fucking-
I can't tell you how many broken hinges I saw on that when I was working at
Wait,
GameStop.
broken hinge? We're talking about floppy hinges.
Yeah, that's
We're
a
talking
broken
about
hinge.
floppy top screens.
That's a hinge.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's broken.
I mean, the DS Lites are the ones that actually had the broken hinges that started cracking.
Well, yeah, where that little like coupling piece would crack. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was bad.
Our next comment comes from Moo. This is not Switch related. He says,
Oh.
Brad, I really wish you had played Vice City with a mouse and keyboard. The controls are a lot better, and you have free aim instead of that awful lock-on system. The camera is also better.
Really?
He says also checkpoints weren't in GTA games until 5. Which I guess
Oh, I know. It
forgot
was
about
fucking
that.
awful. Until then.
he just wanted to point out.
I think Grand Theft Auto 5 is easily the best of those games.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it doesn't quite have the cool setting and stuff of Vice City or San Andreas, but I mean, it's the best playing one. If they took Grand Theft Auto 5's engine and made like a game in a
recreation?
different setting,
Yeah.
that would be so cool. Like, why? What is wrong with Rockstar that they can't even do like a DLC like that anymore? It's just, they're so focused on this online shit. And what I think it is, I don't think Rockstar, I don't think the GTA team is really all that big. You know what I mean? It's probably big for like a modern AAA studio, but what I'm saying is, I feel like you take Activision and Call of Duty is really successful. They're gonna get all these other teams, all these other studios on different parts of a game or on DLCs and stuff. I
Yeah.
don't think Rockstar does that. I think
No, they dedicate one team to one game.
and I don't think they have enough people to like do all this online shit and churn out single player DLCs, and I think that's probably why we're not seeing them. Which is a fucking bummer.
Well, that
but the
they-
online stuff has made them a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like the whole
They
YouTube.
sell those fucking shark cards. Like that's what their whole business is revolved around now. Is like selling the online currency for the online multiplayer.
Not just that, but really successful YouTubers and Twitch streamers sold a lot of copies of that game on PC because of really, really popular streams and channels.
Yeah.
True. Our next comment is actually also Rockstar related because we talked a little bit about the Red Dead Redemption 2 announcement last week, or trailer. Mikey JB says Red Dead Revengeance. That's a joke. Hopefully one of the characters has a sword. Has anyone else seen? Okay, sorry.
This is a joke.
Yeah, this is the real comment I wanted to get to. He says, I think Rockstar is a big enough publisher that Red Dead Redemption 2 could have been called anything, and everyone would have known it was the sequel to Red Dead Redemption. It didn't need to have that name recognition that you talked about last week. I'm in complete agreement with him here. He says, example, Bloodborne didn't need name recognition for everyone to know that was a Souls game.
Sure.
And
Yeah, but they don't make these decisions based on what like video game fans
Yeah, they're
would
doing-
want to
yeah.
see. They
They're
make
looking at it
these
from a
based
numbers
on what
standpoint.
like what the investors and
Yeah.
what the company's board wants.
Well,
So, I mean,
if they can sell, 26 million versus 25 million, they're going to call it Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep, that is the crux of it.
Yeah.
It's still really a bummer because I really would have loved to see something, Red Dead Revenge, Red Dead, whatever, something.
Roundabout. I can give a shit about the title, honestly.
Red Dead Reach Around for all I
Red
give a
Dead
shit.
Ricketts.
Red Dead Ricketts. There we go.
Return of the
Return of
Redemption.
the Red Dead.
Return of the
Return of the Red Dead. Revenge of the Red Dead.
Return of the Red.
I'm
Dead.
glad we don't name games. All right. Next comment comes from the
The
fourth
Red Dead
horseman.
Strikes Back.
Fourth horseman. I'm gonna kind of. He's a kind of a long comment. I'm gonna skip around a little bit here, but he says he starts out by saying I'm optimistically cautious about the Switch. I'm cautious. He says I'm
Cautiously
He
optimistic.
wrote I'm optimistically cautious.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay, about the Switch. It's doing something that I've wanted Nintendo to do for a long while. Unite their software from handheld and home consoles. Unless they surprise us with a new handheld. So they have me there. But he says, I never plan on playing this on my TV. I don't care if the third-party support is there or not because there is no chance it's going to replace my home console, especially if it's weaker. I don't have the room, and only one console will be sitting under my main TV, and it's the PS4. So regardless of Nintendo trumpeting this as a home system, it will strictly be my next Nintendo handheld.
Enjoy your 3-hour battery life.
That's exactly what this is.
We don't know
though.
what the battery life will be.
That's exactly what this
Hopefully,
is.
It's going to be 3 hours.
Hopefully longer. Let me say
I think
something.
that was
What's the
a big-
average tablet battery life?
It
9
depends,
years.
it depends on what you're doing on it.
Yeah.
We're playing games.
I mean,
Not very
this
long.
Samsung, every time I booted up fucking Lara Croft Go, man,
During-
I had maybe
I think-
like an hour.
I think battery life kind of depends on how important the thing you're about to do with it is.
Yeah.
Plus, your tablet's doing a lot more shit in the background, probably too.
Probably, yeah.
Hold on. I've seen this shit on a message board. I will go unnamed. Some Nintendo fans
Okay.
started becoming all like hoity-toity. They started like with sincerity, like talking down to stationary consoles. Oh, that's a stationary console.
Is that a thing people are saying?
Oh
now?
my God.
Stationary consoles.
As if the Switch is just a mobile console.
This has changed how we look at games.
Oh my god!
It's already you can already feel the Switch's ripples throughout the industry.
Oh, is that the Nintendo's new handheld? What?
No, this is Nintendo's console.
Oh, this is their non-stationary console.
mobile
This is
console.
innovative as hell. Look at this. It's a mobile console.
Look at this.
Oh god, kill me.
Would you just look at that? Would you just look
Kenton
at
says, I find it odd that you guys...
Do you think they're like? Do you think the other guys are gonna move away from stationary consoles?
it? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Kill me.
Just kill me. All right. Kenton says, I find it odd that you guys found the possible size of memory for the Switch worrying. The games for the Switch won't be Blu-ray size, PC size downloads like most games, i.e. 20 to 50 gigs, even if it is 32 to 64. Even if it is 32 or 64 gigs. That should be plenty of... Wait, what? That should be plenty for a system that uses cartridges. For the DS as an example, the games aren't that big, and yes, the Switch will have better graphics, but I doubt the games are going to be massive where size
how
will be
big are the cartridges on the
Yeah.
Vita?
Well, I think they've confirmed that the cartridges for the Switch are going to be about 16 gigs.
How big is a
But how
3DS cartridge?
I mean, I don't know.
How about we stop calling them cartridges? Because it's fucking weird and stupid.
Also, here's
what are they?
here's the question
They're
though. Like,
just little
if you look
cards,
at,
like an SD card.
So don't say cartridge.
they're
say
putting
card.
Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. That's gonna come on a fucking Blu-ray. It may not fill up that Blu-ray, but it's still a sizable game. You have to expect that it's gonna be a pretty hefty. Like, if they even want it to be comparable on the Switch, it's gonna have to be
Yeah.
a pretty hefty.
But the question
file
is,
size.
are you gonna have to blow into the cartridge before you play it on your mobile console?
I hate you. I guess only time will tell. Are we really?
I mean, there's
Are we
actually
coming full
modders
circle?
out there that have made mobile consoles that use actual cartridges. I mean, that's what the fucking
Sega Nomad.
The Sega Nomad was. Sega was innovating back then with a mobile console.
I had one of those. In the battery life, it used 4 AA batteries, and it lasted for like an hour and a half.
The battery life on the Nintendo Switch tablet controller will be 20 hours. It will require 20 AA batteries.
2 to 4. Ken says 3DS cards are 2 to 4 gigs.
Well, 3DS is old, so. Yeah.
And also, the resolution on those is like, what?
It's a gaming ecosphere, you fucking plebes.
All right. Well, our last comment comes from Gonzo Lude. He says, "I'm surprised you guys haven't mentioned the battery life. That has been rumored to be only 3 hours for the portable tablet. That's really not enticing for me. Hell, the DualShock 4 is only 4 to 5 hours." Well, we did just kind of address that. So there you have it.
You're late.
I feel like this is one of those things. I feel like online functionality, battery life, backwards
Joel
compatibility.
Shit.
All of that is what's going to be probably addressed in January when they
That's all.
do their next reveal, which is fucking weird. But yeah,
The fucking reveal 2 months before the goddamn system comes out.
yeah,
That's nuts.
it is
It
nuts.
really is.
It is nuts. Anyways, like I
Oh,
said,
don't worry, it'll get pushed back.
we're about to hop into some game discussion here. If there's anything that we talk about that you'd like to chime in on, please leave a comment over at 4playernetwork.com on the website, and maybe we'll read it next week on the show. So, with that said, where shall we begin? We have some VR to talk about. We've got some horror games. Should we just talk about talk about some of the horror stuff we played? Start there. 'Cause we're gonna talk about
the new ones that are worth mentioning. I mean, some of that stuff we had played before, you know.
let's see.
I don't think we need to talk about like Undead Nightmare or Alien or anything.
Nope. We don't need to talk about Undead Nightmare. Alien's still amazing. I still want
Fear.
you to play that. Are you gonna play any of that on the feed, Brad?
I will try.
Because that game
Someday.
is no.
Like that Stroke song.
Last week it went from maybe I'll play that on my Halloween broadcast next week to I'll play that someday.
You ever gonna play Splinter Cell Blacklist?
No, he's never gonna play.
Because
we
that's
tried
on
playing that
sale
in
right
co-op.
now for $7.
As a co-op game, that thing is a fucking train wreck.
What? I played some of that
Lily
game.
and I tried to play it, and it was a disaster.
I played some of that game co-op.
It's made for like people who have already like finished the campaign and shit. For sure, it's not like, oh, I have a friend here, let's play some co-op. It's not that kind of game.
Okay, well then,
It's like you've played through the game, and then there's some co-op challenges you can do.
yeah. All right. So we're not going to talk about Undead Nightmare. We're not going to talk about Alien Isolation, which we both played a good amount of on the during the marathon. So check that out. It's in the archives, and we'll probably get some clips up on YouTube. But what would you say is the first game we should talk about from said?
I don't want the PSVR.
What the fuck did you just say?
I heard PSVR.
Let's talk about the PSVR. I mean, that's the new thing. That's what we spent the most time playing. So I think we should talk about that.
All right, let's talk about the PlayStation VR.
What did y'all think about the PlayStation VR?
Damn. It's okay. I still maintain that the field of view on it's a little narrow for my liking.
Yeah.
Kind of broke me out of my immersion here or there, but like some of those games we played, like Until Dawn and Here They Lie, like had some really
Let's
cool,
talk about
had some
Until
really cool-
Dawn.
Had some really cool spaces.
I feel like-
really cool
I-
play on space.
I feel
You know,
like-
looking around.
I feel like every time we record a podcast, Brad is just like itching to go, just like jump straight into the game I really want to talk about. Just straight to it. We've already gone to VR. We haven't even talked about VR in general.
Well,
we haven't
I mean-
talked about the headset. Like this is our first time really getting our hands on a fucking headset, trying it out. How does the tech work? How do you like the way it fits? All that stuff. You don't want to
I think
address
that-
any of that?
I mean, I think that stuff is fine. I mean, what he said about I guess it does have a more limited field of view than others. But I mean, once you're in it, once you're playing the game, you just stop thinking about it. If the game is good and it's done well and it's not making you feel sick, it's kind of like when you're watching 3D, like a movie for the first time, and at first it's like jarring and annoying. But then when if it's done well enough, it just kind of becomes invisible. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I feel like the flaws of VR start to go away when you're just in it,
Yeah.
And I feel like at least the games I tried, were were good.
So yeah, some of those games did a really good job of kind of distracting you from the technology shortcomings.
Here's a couple things that I wanted to point out about just the technology in general. Because I'll be honest, going into it and having messed around with VR at like trade shows, E3, PAX, stuff like that, I've never been totally sold on it. And maybe part of that was because I was like, when am I realistically going to own a VR? And now we have one in our hands.
Well, I hated hearing about something like the Oculus and stuff like the Vive because they were so prohibitively expensive, not just the headsets, but also the super PC that you needed to run them well and all the projects that were in development for that. It's a very different world than kind of where we're at now of I already own a PS4.
Yep.
You get the headset, or we already had the camera, some move controllers, whatever. Although we do need another move controller. We should try that. But it's still expensive, obviously.
I mean, it's essentially the cost of, it's like buying another PS4.
Sure. But, or like, when you got to connect for the first time or something, right? Like, it's a very expensive ask, but it's one that's a lot more realistic because it doesn't cost so much and as much. And I feel like we can now finally talk about VR without being like super alienating to people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because this is the lowest barrier to entry as far as VR tech for sure.
Yeah.
It is, if you ever have an opportunity to play PSVR versus playing the Oculus or playing the Vive, sure, you're going to probably notice a pretty significant difference in, the immersion or the quality or whatever. But for the price you're paying for the VR, for the PSVR, and the little amount of setup and stuff that has to go into just jumping in and playing it, I think it's really quite impressive. And honestly, for the first time since we've talked about VR, since it's even been kind of on our radar, and having played with it before at trade shows and whatnot, for the first time, I feel kind of optimistic about the future of VR or the future of the technology as like an actual
consumer product.
It'll eventually
I can see myself wanting to play games like this if they continue to make experiences like Here They Lie, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, or like Until Dawn. Like I've said many times, I'm super excited for Resident Evil 7 in January. They're touting that as you can play from beginning to end in VR. It really is going to depend on how that game controls and how it feels. But having played a bunch of Here They Lie, I am fully intending to give that a shot, and if I like it anywhere near as much as I like Here They Lie in terms of playing it and how it feels to be in that world, I will absolutely play Resident Evil 7 from start to finish in VR.
I feel like, and it's the thing that not a lot of people talk about, at least I'm not hearing them talk about, it's that I think one of the most affecting things of VR, of good VR experiences, is how immersive the 3D is. I feel like that's the first time 3D has worked for me.
Yeah.
But no one talks about it. No one talks about how when you were like in Until Dawn and you're passing a giant pig, it felt like it was really there. Yeah. Not just because this thing was surrounding your face, but because like it was three-dimensional. You know? Yeah. And not just three-dimensional on a TV screen on the other side of your room. It was three-dimensional in front of you.
It's because of the head tracking.
Yeah.
Because you can move your head around in that 3D space.
You get that.
That's what sells it. That's the difference between that and watching, like you're saying, like watching a movie in 3D is like you're just looking at a picture that's kind of popping out at you or maybe has some depth. This VR thing is like moving with your head and show, like, as you're moving your head, you're seeing more of the scene.
And this is something that I don't think
that's really,
I think a lot of people
cool. That's what's so cool about like those Starfighter games is like you're in a cockpit and you can look around the cockpit, you can look behind you, you can look up, you can look down, like that. That's the last like little push to make it believable.
This is what I think. A lot of people watching the stream maybe who haven't had an opportunity to try the VR or maybe still a little like confused as to how it feels or what it's like, but like that, we'll talk about Here They Lie in a second, but there was a moment at the very beginning where I'm interacting with another character, like a person right there talking to me. I know, we'll show it in a second.
Why don't you just want to talk about it? I mean, we could talk about VR through the games. I mean, because that's kind of what's
let's
novel.
Jump straight into until Here They Lie, which is a horror game that I didn't even know existed, honestly, until we did this horror marathon. And it's a launch title for the VR.
Even though
what?
It was funny because I kept telling Nick, like, Here They Lie, Here They Lie. I even talked about it on Trailer Talk, and I was like, oh, this is that Tan Gentleman team that's formed of, like, old vets, including Toby Gard, and I was like, we'll play Here They Lie, we'll play Here They Lie. And it wasn't until Nick finally started playing it, and he's like, "Oh."
All right, so if you're watching the footage right now, so this is the character. You start the game out, you're talking to this girl, and it's so weird seeing this without the actual VR headset. Like, it looks so much.
Do you know what it is?
Huh?
It's because when you're watching it on screen, it's a video game character, but in VR, it's a person the same size as you, and that's weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And it feels like they're
in your personal
Yeah,
space.
it feels like they're in your bubble. Like
Yes, that right there is the
yeah.
most important thing. Like, you see, like, you're watching this is actually my head tracking. So, like, I turned around, looked over my shoulder in the real world, looked behind myself, and to watch her, like, walk away. And it felt like that person was in my personal space, and she was leaving my personal space. And you don't really get that feeling just watching a stream or anything like that. And that's a really cool feeling. And that was the first moment, like, literally, that was the first thing I did. I put the headset on, and I played this. And that was the moment where I was like, holy shit. Like, that girl was in my personal space, and I felt like I felt like I could reach up and fucking touch her face if I wanted to. Obviously, can't. But it's a really...
Just wait till I play the Batman one. Because you could, like, totally touch Alfred's face. Because they use the move controllers.
Oh, shit.
And you can, like, throw stuff at his head.
Well, that's going to be something happening in the
play
near
the
future.
Batman
We're gonna make sure Crispy can try that on the feed. But yeah, like, that was just a really... I didn't expect to feel that way. And had that feeling of someone invading your personal space, like a fake person invading your personal space. It's just a really weird experience.
It's so cool, like what you were saying, Brad, is like it, like people and spaces and everything has proper perspective in this VR format. Like when you're playing a video game, it's all just like a little picture of like a train, you know. Like we're watching this on a screen right now, and you don't get a sense of that being a full size like actual environment. And then when you're in it, and like in Until Dawn, when we'd go into those level beginnings where you have to go through like some character's like mouth or something, it really looks like it's 40 feet tall.
It feels so
like
large,
that's something that could never be that affecting on a 2D screen.
It's
Like,
just so it's cool actually, like, to take a step back and watch the footage separately, because this is my first time seeing what it looked like on our stream, of watching of what people were seeing, and
It just looks like a walking simulator.
it looks like a walking simulator, but like every time just the movement of the camera feels so much more natural to me. But that's because that's literally how I was moving my head.
it kind of seems like they're animating it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, explain the jump cuts, because that's one thing that's very strange about
so
this
is
game.
the really weird thing about this game. I think this is just a byproduct of developers trying to slowly figure out the best way to handle character movement.
Character movement
And I will say
motion
this.
sickness
I
has
will
been a
say
real
this.
struggle.
You hear a lot of people, a lot of the press who've been playing VR and whatnot, talk about motion sickness. And I feel like I'm lucky enough, because I played probably a solid 4.5 hours of this game over the course of our marathon, on multiple occasions. Never once felt nauseous. But I can absolutely see why it's going to make some people feel nauseous, because you're trying to control the character. You have some control over the camera and whatnot with the thumbstick, but you're also moving your head, and then for like a weird thing they implemented to try and, I guess, address that issue of motion sickness is you tap the D-pad or the thumbstick in certain directions, and it does this like fade to black
45.
cut 45-degree
Yeah.
turn,
Yeah.
and then you just start walking forward. And that's that's basically for people who want to avoid controlling the direction that your character is moving by moving their head around. Because if you don't use that feature, you literally just turn your head in real life you look in the direction you want to go, and you push forward on the analog stick, and the character will move and turn in that direction.
But if you did just that, you'd be standing there spinning
Just
around in
tangling
circles,
cords.
tangling yourself up in the cords. Like,
Yeah. So, but like, it's just simple head movements, and you, like, if you want to turn and walk to the left, you turn your head to the left, hit forward, and the character will slowly start to turn to meet that angle as they're walking. So instead of having these jarring turns, it's just like a slow transition from the direction you're facing to the direction you were facing after you've turned your head. Right? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a weird sensation, and it's not something that I think is going to really jive well with some people. I think I can absolutely see what people are talking about when they say this VR made me feel nauseous, because I feel like that is what's going to...
None of this did for me either, but there's a lot more experiences out there for the PSVR.
Yeah, but
so we'll see.
But like this game in particular managed to answer pretty much my question about how does 3D character movement control and feel in like a fully realized like 3D game. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, how is Resident Evil 7 going to feel? How are you going to move your character around without feeling nauseous? And I feel like this is the first, like, maybe... I'm hoping that Capcom has found a way to kind of evolve this more. And I'm assuming it's kind of going to kind of work the same way. But I hope they do it a little bit better. But this is definitely the first taste of that. And I can absolutely... If they can kind of perfect that, this is absolutely a platform. Like, I would absolutely love to play... a lot more games with VR if they can make games feel kind of like this, because it is a fully realized 3D, experience like you would see in any other like AAA title. But you're like, okay, so this scene,
moments like that are
you
amazing.
walk up the stairwell and you come out into this big open space. You see birds fly away in front of you, and that shit feels like it's right there.
What do you think about
Like,
Here
that's-
They Lie? You haven't talked too much about the game.
Well,
what is going on in this fucking game?
So
This game is
I don't know,
fucking
but this is by far okay. First of all, I want to start by saying like this is a game I'm gonna look back on at the end of the year and consider, is this something this is one of the standout experiences for me for the year, mainly because it's a horror game that's very abstract. I don't know what's really happening. You start the game out in this kind of like ghostly world, and there's this girl talking to you that you have a history with, but she doesn't really feel like you obviously know you're not. This isn't the real world. Like, I'm in this weird place. Everything's kind of black and white, maybe the slight hint of color, but this girl that you're talking to is fully colorized, and like you're kind of following her throughout this game. But as you go deeper and deeper into the world, you're starting to see these like really weird, hellish depictions of like, I don't even like. You eventually get to this area where there's like people that look like they're like half people, half animals, but they're like stuck in this loop of like suicide /
Debauchery.
Yeah, it's all
Debauchery.
like sex and violence and like
It's like it's
fighting.
basically
Animalistic incidents.
it feels like they're trying to like portray like humans
Are there any
darker
sexy
tendencies.
rabbits?
base, like kind of base activity.
and but they represent them through these like really creepy like half human half animal people who are obsessed with just doing like really terrible things. They get into fights, they have sex, they kill each other, they beat the shit out of each other. Like, it's weird, and I don't really know where it's going. You're kind of being pursued by this.
I had when you were doing that, I was gonna push you.
Oh man, that's good. Okay, so just kind of in the
I wish you
in
could
the
jump
interest
off
of
a high
in the
speed
interest of
sometimes.
talking about things as they're happening on screen. There are moments where there's a lot of verticality in this game. You come out of these big open outdoor environments and you're looking up and there's these big, tall, almost like otherworldly style buildings that just kind of stretch upward into the sky. And like that feeling in VR of looking up and seeing that sense of scale is super cool. But there's also, you can walk up to ledges and you can look down and you get that sense of like, holy shit, that's a long drop. And that's something you really don't experience the same way in VR.
How cool would a
but,
Mirror's
like,
Edge game be in VR?
Dude, oh my god. Well, that would probably be really hard to execute without getting motion sick. But like the weird thing is like first you can look down obviously, but like it wasn't until I walked up to a ledge, and that in real life, like on the couch, I leaned my whole body forward, and the character did too, and I looked over the railing, like you would in real life. It's not just like you walk up, look down, look up. You can actually lean out as far as you can like manage over a railing and look down. And that's a sensation that I've never felt in a game before.
And I can't stress enough the sense of scale. Because again,
That
it's
was
just a building on a video game, on a screen, on the other side of the room. But when you're standing next to a building and you look up, it's like you're standing next to a building. And that is a crazy sensation.
Now, one thing I do want to point out, and this is kind of more of a, this is more of
like
a,
imagine Shadow of the Colossus in VR.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
shit.
it's crazy when it's something normal like a building, but
Yeah.
when it's something not normal
Yeah,
that
like-
you could
like a
only see in a
giant
video game.
Body
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
the dude from Until Dawn.
that's when it's
to
really
kind of,
like.
I do. There's a few things I want to say about Here They Lie, but this is just one thing I want to point out, and this is something that I think will get better over time, and I feel like this is just kind of another byproduct of it being super early in the technology's lifespan. But like, it looks super crisp and super clean here, but when you're wearing the headset, there is a certain level of blurriness.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
it looks blurry on the TV. Like when we were watching it, it looked really blurry on the TV too. Some games aren't blurry like this, though.
And my face gets really
like Until
sweaty.
Dawn was not super
Until
blurry.
Dawn was not nearly as blurry
No,
as this.
no.
This game was I would say is probably exceptionally blurry as far as
Exceptionally blurry.
What's the team behind this game?
It's a new studio called Tangentleman. They were formed up by some like old industry vets or whatever, like every new team, indie team. But one of the people of note that I think is interesting is Toby Gard, who was one of the original creators of Tomb Raider, who went on to like do Galleon and like nothing else. And he joined this studio, and this is like the first thing they did. So,
and it's a really cool thing. It is just one of those. It's one of those things you're going to put it on and you're like, whoa, this is kind of blurry. In fact, I didn't even realize it was this crisp until I'm just watching this footage right now because it is not as crisp and clean when you're wearing the headset.
Yeah.
That is something I think will get better. It's not going to get to the point where I think it looks this beautiful while you're wearing the headset and being enveloped in the world, but it's one of those things that's kind of a give and take. You're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of that crispness in exchange for feeling totally immersed.
I also think it's a little premature to judge the entire potential of the technology off of what we see out and available right now.
yeah, especially
Like-
because this is the second
Like,
rate.
I think there's enough of a reason for people to want to keep developing this technology because there's
Absolutely.
enough of a payoff in it.
And also this
That-
tech is the lowest bar for entry. You know, it's doesn't have the tech of the HTC Vive or even the
Also,
Star
the
VR that's coming out.
PS4 is only
talking
so
more-
powerful. The PS4 Pro's coming out soon,
I'm
and this is
talking-
going to be the pedestrian console.
I mean, I'm really talking more about like VR, like as
In
a consumer
general?
product in general.
Yeah.
But like, especially with the PlayStation VR. Yeah.
I mean, you almost have to look at it like a platform. Like early, think about how games looked early in the PS3's life cycle versus how they look towards the end of it. It's going to be a very similar arc, I believe.
Well, let's continue our conversation about VR.
Well,
through-
real quick, just a couple things I wanted to say about
Here they lie.
Here They Lie, I think.
How much more have you played of that game?
Pretty much what I played on the feed. I forgot to
Okay.
take the camera with me when I left last week.
And the games.
And the games. And not to mention, I forgot that my save data is on Brad's PS4, so I
Yes.
kind of have to finish it on his PS4.
Because I was gonna say, I mean, this is marketed as a horror game. For like the first 2 hours of this game, yeah, it looked like a horror game. But then you get to the part where you start really encountering the people that look like animals. It doesn't feel like a horror game.
I
anymore.
mean, it's just supposed to be kind of unsettling, a little creepy. I mean, this is not it's not a combat heavy game. You're literally just kind of walking, seeing the story unfold. There's a few like stealth parts where you have to kind of sneak around and avoid these enemies that will kind of run up to you and beat you with bats.
yeah.
But there's no combat to speak of. You're literally just walking around the world, finding clues, finding the things that trigger the next story event to unfold. But you're doing it by just walking down this path. What the game does really well, there are a few like monster enemies that lurk in like these alleyway areas that you find, and those are really creepy. Like there are these weird like golem looking motherfuckers with like giant like. They have like
Skull masks with, like,
skulls with
antlers
like
and shit.
antlers. on
Remember
them.
the one that wanted you to fuck it?
Yeah.
I was like presenting and
Yeah,
like,
they're-
jerking itself off.
Well, no, he was like pushing his ass towards
Oh,
your crotchal
yeah.
region.
But like, yeah.
That had to be a glitch.
No, that was part of the
That
game. That was part of the thing we were
It
talking about. where
represents lust.
there's like this whole part of the game where
Chris Davis. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to this part of the game that is literally you're literally in like this really fucked up version of like the red light district, and it's just all these people that
Stanley Kubrick presents the Red
Stanley-
Light District.
It's just
Stanley Kubrick, a little Bioshocky in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, certain parts of this game reminded me of that. But from a gameplay perspective, you're just walking and triggering the events that kind of let everything unfold. And in that sense, it's a really cool experience. I
Well, we
highly
play-
recommend it.
We played a very different type of experience with Until Dawn: Rush of Blood.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Dude,
Which is
fuck
sort of
lightning.
I mean, well, obviously the first Until Dawn from last year was a very different
What's
type
weird
of
is that this
heavy
Until-
rain horror game. This is a. Do you remember that mini game on the Golden Saucer in Final Fantasy VII, where you get on the roller coaster and you like shoot things?
I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of examples of that, but yes.
Well, that's the video game example. It's like the Haunted Mansion ride, or or at Disney World, or
It's weird this game is even called Until
Men in
Dawn.
Black. Remember the Men in Black one at Universal,
Oh yeah, dude, I love
where
Men
you
in
where you
Black.
have the guns.
You know
It's
what
like
the
that.
secret to that game is?
Yeah, I know. We talked about this.
Wait,
Shoot your own cars thing.
Yeah.
On the part where it's like you got to shoot the other player's car, you just shoot your own because it's easier to hit. It's right above your head.
This game
And
right
you
here.
still get the points.
This is just like a haunted mansion simulator where you're sitting in a little cart and it's pushing you along, and sometimes it goes fast like a roller coaster, but you're kind of just going slow, looking at things, shooting at things when they come at you, and it's fucking fun, man.
It is.
It's just a fun. It's like you're at an amusement park, or it's like you're in a haunted house, or both, and it's just a blast, man. I felt like a kid playing this thing, man.
That was one of the most surprising parts of the whole marathon for me is watching Brad. Like Brad, for a short while, became like a little kid again.
You see these pigs and they're like, but like when you're up close and they're fucking giant in front of you,
So, like-
it's so cool.
So like
It's
you'll
so
see,
cool.
You'll see in the footage we're showing right now. We're going through this like part. There's all these pigs squealing everywhere, but there's these spinning saw blades, and you literally have to like lean your body in directions to avoid them as you're going under them. But like as I was going under them, I was actually looking at it and like following it as it went by my head, and like the blade is like feels like it's inches from your face, which is a really cool feeling. And they do a lot of that. They play with a lot of that stuff in this game. But the game itself, it's weird that it's even called Until Dawn because it's nothing like Until
Name
Dawn. It's just
recognition.
it shares
Pretty much.
some imagery from Until Dawn, some characters you may recognize, but it has nothing to do from a gameplay perspective with Until Dawn. It's just a fucked up carnival ride has you shooting enemies as they run at you, and it's also, this is the part I love, like it's a roller coaster, so there are parts where you go down like fucking huge hills, and that shit is crazy.
Yeah,
like it feels really cool, especially when you're about to go over like a really tall.
I mean, roller
This
coasters are
shit's
just
so creepy in VR.
and
Oh
it's
my God.
huge.
Oh wait,
Oh my
and the
God.
spider part. The spider part.
I fucking hated that spider level. I don't even want to talk about it.
Roller coasters are just dope.
Ugh.
You know?
And as someone who can't really do roller coasters in real life, this was actually kind of cool.
Oh my
Really, I
God.
didn't know. Is it because you're not big enough?
Oh fuck you! No, it's not. It's because they actually
you're gonna die?
they freak me out a little bit. So
Maybe this will be like immersion therapy for you.
No, I'm like that. I'm the same way, Nick. I mean,
But it's
the
cool.
first
You can
first roller coaster I ever went on as a kid, I was 7 years old, and they took me on Space Mountain, and that
that's-
fucking ruined me.
Oh come on, Space
Well,
Mountain's
Space
so
Mountain,
kiddie.
Space Mountain is a little bit easier to swallow. I mean, Space Mountain still kind of fucks me up, but I can at least do Space Mountain because you can't fucking see where you're going in Space
because
Mountain.
it's the kiddie pool.
If they had turned
That
the
was-
lights on in Space Mountain, I'd be fucked up.
Yeah, if you could see how close your head was to getting wanged by some beam
Yes!
in the dark.
Well,
Yeah.
my brother hit his hand on that ride.
Dude, I did too. It's great. I love it.
it's fucked up.
You guys are fucked up. The point is, it's
Oh, that right.
VR is the kind. I'm excited to see what kinds of experiences VR offers. More experiences it offers because, like, I don't do roller coasters, but this game kind of gave me an ability to go down a fucking roller coaster, which was a really something I'm comfortable doing it because I know I'm really in the safety of my own home. Like it's just a cool fucking
It
thing.
reminds me of like a haunted house where like the jump scares really get you, but they're fun. Like everything in this game is really, really fun. It's not like a jump scare in Fatal Frame where you're just gripping your chest because you can barely breathe. This thing was nice. It's
madcap and
I had a
wacky.
great time. Like honestly, this is one of the more entertaining experiences I've had this year, honestly, in video games. And part of it is, I really like horror. I like Halloween. I like haunted houses, and I like, like amusement park stuff. And this was a combination of all those things. And I felt like a kid. I don't know.
Let's just hit all your buttons, huh?
Yeah, and it was just fun, like going pop, 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 pop.
Not to mention
just shooting things. Just was.
And who
was
doesn't
cool.
love shooting clowns?
I want to play this with move controllers.
especially now.
Yeah. I might be
We
playing
also-
a
we-
little
we-
more of this tomorrow night.
Yeah, we played the whole thing during the marathon.
Yeah, but I only played a couple levels. I'm doing a Halloween broadcast tomorrow evening.
And a lot of the maps have various different alternate routes you can try. So
Oh yeah, you can actually shoot switches and it'll switch the train track and you'll go different directions. I don't know how much that changes up the experience really, but when it's all said and done. But I don't know. It's a cool little It's a cool little experiment, I think. It's funny, like, the Until Dawn name is attached to it purely to get sales, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
like-
super
I mean,
massive.
there's a few things in there that reference Until Dawn.
Yeah, but I mean-
Yeah, but, like, when you
Come on,
compare
let's be
it...
real.
Like, I can tell you right now, spoiler alert, when that big, creepy killer dude rips off his mask in the actual Until Dawn, it's not a zombie.
Yeah.
It's a Wendigo.
So,
You can't say that.
anyways...
Is that new Skyrim VR compatible? Like the Skyrim re-release they just did?
I don't think so. I think supposedly like Fallout's gonna be.
Fallout's getting it.
Oh my god! Like actual like VR, like not just like where you,
can I-
not where you just put on the headset and see a screen in front of you.
Can I borrow the VR headset when that happens?
After I finish playing Fallout, bro.
Fuck you, bro.
Well, the problem is you have to play a kind of boring game.
Oh, Brad did.
Oh, you went
He
there.
did.
All right. So yeah. So, anyways, VR was a cool experiment. I mean, it's super early in the tech. It was a fun experience we had during the marathon. I think more than anything, I'm super excited. Just kind of we have it now, so we can play. You'll probably be seeing a lot of VR stuff on our stream going forward. I fully intend on playing Resident Evil 7 in its entirety. I'm going to do a special Resident Evil 7 broadcast when that game launches. And if it's getting any good buzz from the VR perspective, you can probably expect me to play that on the feed entirely in VR. So that's going to happen potentially. But what else would we
Well, there was
play?
one game from the horror marathon that I didn't actually play much of during the horror marathon.
You played more afterwards.
I played more afterwards, and people were a couple people, including J52, were like, "Man, you need to try this. You need to try this. It'll be really fun. It'll be really fun." I played a little bit of it. I was like, "Eh." I was just kind of walking around, didn't really know what to do. But later on in the week, I actually sat down and gave this game a fair shot. And Lakeview Cabin was surprisingly fun. Now, this is a game that I think is on sale right now for $2.50 on Steam. It is a game with no dialogue or anything. You just start the game and you're a dude who walks into a movie theater and there's like 4 different like screens that are showing, like starting with Lakeview Cabin 3 and then Lakeview Cabin 4, and they're basically like the levels of the game, right? You go into level and you realize you're just a character who's kind of walking around in 2D, and you'll see footage here in a second. This is like the start screen where you're just kind of walking and you're moving towards, and you're eventually going to select a level. Essentially the level select. But this is really hard to see across the room, but it's going to get a little brighter here. So these movies, you're playing a cast of characters, 4 characters that you can switch between at any given time, at least at its most basic. And all you do when you get in these levels is you kind of walk around, you can pick up things, and the way you interact with things is just, a simple button press, and you can throw them or use them, and everything in this game is very physicsy. It reminds me of Spelunky, where you can kind of throw something at something and it bounces off of that and it hits something else, and shit can go bad real quick.
Is
like
Lakeview-
Spelunky, you know what I mean? Like you land on some, something
Just
lands on
real quick, is the Lakeview Cabin itself supposed to be, or the movies, are they supposed to be like
horror movies.
I know, but they're supposed to be like Friday the 13th.
Yeah, we'll get to them. We'll get to that in a second. But you have to understand, like, the interactivity and the way things work, like, is one of the key hooks of this game, because the goal of this game is to kind of survive the night, to take out the killer, because you are in a horror movie, and this first level is very much like a Friday the 13th style killer. Now, like, I walked over this rake, and what happens, of course, it hits me in the face and I fall over in a very like Spelunky physicsy way, right? And like everything is very interactive. Like you can get a gas can, you could spill gas on the ground, you can find a match and light it on fire, but then you light this on fire and the dog sets on fire and he runs into another person and they burst into flames who runs into this and it causes an explosion.
Whoa, those 2 people just have sex?
Yes, everyone's going to have sex. Yes. Because you have a surprising amount of control over how you can interact with the world. And you can go to a closet, take off your clothes, hop in bed, and mount other people and have sex. And I think it might even help lure the killer, because
it absolutely
the killer doesn't like fucking.
No, well, yeah, that's the rule, man.
And
one of the rules.
And it's just fun to interact with the world and to use things, and you can get weapons and just figuring out what stuff is, because they don't explain anything. And part of that experimental interactivity is a lot of the initial fun of this game. And then all of a sudden it gets dark and a killer comes out, and you realize it's like, oh, I have to find a way using the tools of the environment or some of the traps, or figure out how to use some of the traps in this world to take out this killer and survive using my 4 different characters.
This is important. I have a question.
Wow.
Yes.
Rainfire in chat says you can have threesomes. Confirmed?
Yes. Look, I'm doing
right
it now.
there.
Oh
There
my
you go.
God! He was sitting on that girl's face.
So I'm switching between the characters. Now she's gonna go take her clothes off and join in as well.
Foursome. Oh my god.
And there's all these little things in the environment that you can interact with, and it's really cool. Like kind of finding out what stuff does. It's almost like a puzzle game in that sense. Like the first time I flicked the light switch, I was just so cool. Like I was like, oh, I can turn the lights on and off, and then I kept doing it over and over again, and that light burst into flames and started like setting something underneath it on fire. And I realized, wait, I can use this maybe to like trap the killer and like. The funny thing is you can have sex in any position. So if you get the guy on the bed first and then select the girl, she'll just start pegging him.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So the game is all about interacting with all these objects, figuring out what they do.
Yeah.
She's still
But
naked?
Yes, of course.
She's outside.
Yeah, her little titties hanging out.
I can't see it from here, man.
And like
so
the
small.
carpet matched, and some women
Yeah.
are shaven and some are not.
But the objective of the
Julie-
game
Au
is
natural.
Or this is Beth. Now, I'm writing this thing, and the first time I wrote this thing, I ran over another character and like just scraped off the.
Is that a
there's the
killer?
That's the
That
killer.
must be the killer. Yeah.
And the killer like totally will pop out in like a horror kind of way too, where there's places to hide. There's so I'm
Oh.
it's very much like an homage. I feel like, and I'm like, oh, okay, this orgy's over because we're gonna all die.
Right.
And you can like do stuff like spray him with the hose to try to get him to drop his axe. But I've never actually killed the killer in this stage because it's quite difficult. And there are traps like you can like drop a fucking piano on him or something and try to kill him that way. But I think you have to do it quite a bit before you finally kill him.
So is that the objective of each level, is to kill the killer?
I mean, well, okay. So here's the crazy part about this game, which we're gonna get into.
Run him over.
Yeah, I think I am going to do that.
Yes.
But he's still
Oh,
alive.
that
And I killed
explosion.
myself. Or no, I'm still alive a little bit, so I pick up the axe, but it goes bad and he grabs it and he's coming
Oh,
after
he
me.
grabs it.
It's just a really fun, goofy thing in this level. What happens is I was like, I'm gonna try out the other levels, see what those killers are like or those setups are like, because it's cool, because this is very much like Friday the 13th, right? The second level is completely different than this level. Like you go into like this house and there's like a dozen killers, because it's like some Hills Have Eyes, like
It's
cult
like-
shit.
it's like
And
13
like
ghosts.
every room is so freaky, and I can't even describe it. And it's like, like I was struggling with one killer in this, right?
Every
Yeah,
character
no, we can
is
see.
naked.
Yeah.
They're all naked.
That's
And
'cause-
you could totally get wasted. There's this one run where I just kept chugging like a bottle
Why'd
of
you drop
Jack.
the- why'd you
like
drop the
entire
flashlight?
screen was just like twisting in on itself, and I was the last survivor, and I just couldn't see anything. But it's really fun. But then I get to the second level, and I'm so overwhelmed because you go into this house of horrors, but I find like a chainsaw, and
I'm sorry, a house of what?
Like a
a
cat
house of horrors. And I grab this chainsaw. I'm chainsawing all these dudes, but every room I go into is like this trippy, like insane house of horrors. It was like I mean I can't even describe it. It's
Just... Wow.
is it the horse thing?
Yes.
Thinking it's funny.
It's good.
Like
It's hard to enunciate, okay?
the real thing is funnier than the horrors joke.
What's the real thing?
The house of horrors.
Horror.
Horror.
Thank you.
Which is fine, but then I go to the next stage and it's even weirder. It gets weirder and weirder and more complex, and you realize like it becomes like very puzzly in some very cryptic ways, because then I go into a level and I'm killing this killer with I find a gun and I'm just shooting him, and then he just like poofs, he disappears. And I'm like, okay, well I can't kill him this way, and I find like little like
Silver bullets.
No, it's not like that at all.
You,
I
your
like
dog,
my
and your
characters
friend.
start dying, but then I could still switch to them and they're in hell. and I'm moving them around to hell, and I'm like,
fuck?
and
I
I'm
feel like
like,
we're going
okay,
into spoiler territory here.
like this is getting really complex. Like this level is very simple.
Oh my God.
But the game gets very, very tricky and complex in a way I wasn't expecting, and it ramps up. You know, there's only 4 levels in this whole game, I think, and none of them are like any of the other ones before it.
But the 4th one's a doozy.
I kind of wish there were more levels just like this one, because I feel like until you find out what works in those other levels, they're just not doable, really. They have cool settings. Like,
I mean,
like,
I'm sure-
like there's a level that's in a neighborhood, and I'm going in and out of these houses, and like these houses have multiple floors and like complex layouts, like much more so than this.
I feel like you should play this, and you should
It
commit.
sounds really cool.
I feel like
It
you
is surprisingly cool.
You should commit to playing this in order, like Lakeview Cabin 1, 2, 3, and
Yes,
4.
no, I will.
Because
will.
I have a feeling
I'm gonna play more of this tomorrow night.
Because I have a feeling this is definitely intended to be like, if you beat the first one, it kind of prepares you mentally for what you need to tackle the second one.
I mean, maybe, but like I said, I get into that house of horrific
Horror.
things, and it's just nonstop
House of
killers and traps and like bloody rooms. Again, shocking. Like how
like just the difficulty ramp is.
it's not. I mean, it's beyond difficulty.
What's
you know?
clear is that-
I find it like it's overwhelming, and I have a chainsaw. Like if I had a chainsaw on this stage, it'd be over in seconds.
What's
But-
clear is that Lakeview Cabin as a movie series is very much handled like Halloween 3 was. They're all
Well.
dramatically different.
Yeah, or yeah,
You know what I mean?
Halloween 3.
Halloween 3 has no Michael Myers. It's super. It's like supernatural. It has to
No,
do
but I
with
mean, like,
crazy
wouldn't you just
masks.
say the Halloween franchise?
No, because like all the Halloweens
Well, a lot
are
of
like
horror
they're all
franchises
about
do
Michael
shit like
Myers
this.
killing people, and there's that one movie in the middle of it where it has nothing to do with anything else. It's weird.
Halloween's a very broad topic.
You're missing my point, Crispy.
Like there's
damn
one
it.
character, and again, you don't really know what's happening. And I kept drinking booze and vomiting, and then I had one character that kept slipping on the vomit until she died. Not here, but like it was so weird. And then I realized I had to walk slowly past the vomit, otherwise, yeah, it's a
gross.
cool, weird little interactive physicsy thing that's way more clever than it has any right to be. I recommend everyone pick this up.
It's called Lakeview Cabin.
It's $2.50 on Steam right now
Sold.
because they're doing a Halloween sale.
Oh man, this
Okay.
would have been
And
great. 'cause
this
I-
is one of the Halloween
I had to
sales.
stay in a hotel room last night, and I totally. This is like I was like I didn't bring anything with me to play.
What? Why?
I had to go to San Antonio, but for work. But like I didn't have anything to play. I'm not currently playing anything on my handhelds that I really felt like playing. Like this would have been perfect to just take my laptop and fucking.
Lakeview it up.
I wanna. Yeah, like
So yeah,
Lakeview it up.
I'll play more of this tomorrow night.
Cool.
Had a good time.
Huh.
All right. What else did we tackle? Is there anything else like big we wanted to talk about from the marathon? I know we played a lot of little things. I could briefly mention since I finally got to try out
Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame. That was
What'd you
that was pretty cool. I actually kind of am genuinely interested in playing that game now. Mostly because I like how the Wii tablet controller, how you actually had to turn.
Yeah, it's actually a lot better when it's full control
to
with
line
that,
up all the
but,
spirits in
Yeah.
the frame.
but you
They
can't
really want
broadcast
you to get those
it that
Dutch
way.
angles going. They're looking for more avant-garde style photography.
Precisely. Which is tricky.
That would be great if like one of those games would really play up the more like artistic,
Oh, you-
technical end of photography. Like
Oh, you
have
know
to become
the next game
you
if
have
they
to
ever make
become
one.
like a fucking Ansel Adams of like busting ghosts with a camera.
No.
Well, I mean, if you've played a lot of those games, I mean, you actually do way more damage if you get like a cool shot,
no.
like at the right time.
but
Like,
I'm
like
talking
right
about,
before they're
I'm
about
talking
to,
about doing shit like you have to do techniques like long exposures and like you have to swap out different lenses.
I know what's
for-
going to happen
I
with the
think- well,
next
I
game.
think-
For, like,
the next
depth of
game is
field
going to
and
be
shit.
all about taking selfies with ghosts, and that's how you're going to do it.
No, the next
VR.
the future of Fatal Frame.
Oh my god!
I
couldn't
like-
do it. I couldn't do it.
Well, we would have to, Brad. We would absolutely 110% have to play Fatal Frame in VR
That would
if
be,
it happens.
That would be how 4-player ends.
That would be we'd probably die.
Who develops these games? I mean, it's Tecmo.
Yeah, it's Tecmo, Koei Tecmo. I
I
don't
think
know.
Grasshopper did one of them.
Grasshopper did
did
4,
four,
I
I
think.
think.
Yeah.
I wonder who did 5? Grasshopper may have done 5 as well.
I don't know, but I was really digging it. I'm still completely taken aback by their fucking character designs, man. It's so weird.
What, how sexy they are?
It's just like, who would go to the mountains dressed like that? Who?
I mean,
Wait,
still-
which game?
Fatal Frame.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I feel like tactical gear is not going to protect you much from Japanese.
I'm not
guns.
saying they should be wearing
No,
tactical
but-
gear.
But why are
But,
they
you know,
wearing the short skirts
but,
and
like,
all that?
Maybe they could just be
Lingerie,
wearing,
maybe.
I don't know, some comfortable pants. And maybe some shoes. Closed-toed shoes.
Fatal Frame 4 had
Yeah.
had a zero suit you could
Yeah.
Cargo pants and closed-toed shoes.
Fatal Frame 4 had the zero suit you could unlock.
See, that
Which
doesn't
is
make any
completely
sense either.
practical.
But yeah, I
Wear
might...
under a metallic, a metal armor set.
How many times do you have to beat the game before you can just go naked?
It's not that kind of game.
Okay.
This is
You gotta beat
not
under
that
3 hours.
kind of game. I will say this: I'm genuinely interested in maybe playing 5 at some point. We never got,
It's digital though,
I know.
so you're gonna have to borrow my Wii U.
or I can just buy it on my own Wii U.
Yeah, it might not be worth that.
I mean, who knows? We'll see. We'll see. It was cool. I would genuinely be interested in playing that on the feed for people if they want to see that. I don't know when it's going to happen. Obviously not before the end of the year at this point because we're getting into that season, if you know what I mean.
We are about a month away from Final Fantasy 15.
And Last Guardian.
Should I start getting excited?
Now would be a good time.
I
if
think
it's gonna
what
happen.
needs to happen seriously in the next couple of weeks
Final
is
Fantasy 6.
we need to sit down and watch that movie.
Oh yeah.
Kingsglaive?
Yes.
I think we do. All right.
I'd be into it.
Here's what we're gonna do, guys. We need
Let's
to
steal it from the internet.
Popcorn
we
cast.
need to take a break. When we come back, we have a few other horror related games to talk about. Both of the Chris's have been playing some Battlefield 1.
Yep.
I also
some
want
Battlefield.
I also really?
Yeah.
I also briefly would like to mention I dipped my toes into both Dark Souls 3 and Mafia 3. I might just kind of chime in on those a little bit. But we'll do that. We'll answer some Patreon questions and, of course, wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. So we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's the cartoon animals. You know? They're like fucking Disneyland. Can you start the recording?
We had to put this
All right,
on
we're
tape.
recording.
And we're back. My problem with furries is that they just want to be cartoon animals. How come there's nothing realistic? Or maybe just like the ears. Like, oh, I'm a furry. Like, look at my ears and my tail. Well, I guess they do that too. But when they go to these conventions, they just go full cartoon animal.
Yeah.
Is it because like that's something that they can
Anthropomorphic.
draw? Like, this is my
No,
persona, I can
well-
draw it. But like, why not go for like super realistic animals?
Some of them
you know what I mean?
That's a different thing. That's like
It's a different thing.
other kin. Isn't it?
Different fetishes.
Oh, are
Yeah, the
they?
whole
Is it?
furry thing is specifically about anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could still be walking around like a people animal, but have like not like googly eyes.
By the
like you're
way,
a fucking
not
rare
all,
game.
not all furries have a fetish for being a furry. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not. I know, but I'm saying
that was more directed at Chris Davis.
why the fucking googly eyes? Like, how can such a large group of people all over the world, such a huge, organization of people who love to dress up as animals, they even have conventions, they love and respect each other, I mean, what I'm saying is, like, how could they all love the googly eyes? You know what I mean? How could so many people on the planet want to be a googly-eyed animal?
Is it because
It's
Google
anime's fault.
Is it?
It's not. The anime has like sexy ass, like
Sexy asses.
well, like when there's a hot chick who's also just happens to have like bunny ears, like that's not like a person in a full furry suit with googly eyes. You know what I mean? Like how could what I'm saying is
the
how,
googly eyes that turn you off.
what I'm saying is how can so
Y'all wake
many
me up when
people
this
identify
conversation's over.
as a weird googly eyed rare character from a rare game, Just be a squirrel. You don't have to be Conquer. Maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know.
Maybe.
Is it anime?
No.
Maybe you're
Is the
wrong.
goal?
No,
like,
Brad, it's the kids who are wrong.
are they all kids? They're not all kids. They're.
No, I was
All
It's
right.
just-
It's
It's just like somebody had to define at some point the furry convention look, and then people just started copying it. I just don't believe that these people may see themselves as these animal people, but like the googly eyes, man.
Is it because the googly eyes make you think of like? Is this?
Well, why do they have to be goofy?
Is this the same as like your issue with like baby games?
No. Well, I mean,
Maybe.
kind of.
Maybe.
You know,
Brad's
like,
having a breakthrough.
well, I feel like some furries are like, I feel like it's weird. Why aren't you taking me seriously? But like, it's because they look like Mickey Mouse. Like you go to Enchanted
What is
Kingdom
wrong with Mickey Mouse?
and Goofy. I mean, their whole thing is like, I'm Goofy.
Brad.
Look at my googly eyes.
Brad, it's called Magic Kingdom, not Enchanted.
Whatever the fuck. I'm just saying. If you want to be an animal, go all the way.
That's just. I mean,
I'm
as several
sorry.
people in chat pointed
Well-
out, that would just be bestiality, Brad.
You're you're
that's not true. I'm not saying that you have to fuck the realistic looking animal. I'm just saying if you're gonna look like an animal, why does it have to be Magic Kingdom?
Robin Hood. Yeah.
Hey,
I
you
watched
know-
that movie last night. Actually, it's a classic.
You know-
What, the cartoon one?
yeah, the Fox.
Yeah,
Robin
Malia
Hood.
loves that movie.
You
That's
know,
a good one.
we should talk about video games.
Robin Hood.
love of
We
God,
spent the
let's
first
talk
5
about
minutes of this segment
Rich.
talking about furries, or Brad talking about furries. We just listened.
Ooh, the lolly.
So why don't we talk a little bit about Battlefield 1? How's that sound? Let's go from furries.
God.
Let's go from furries.
There's
to
a
Battlefield
minimal
1.
amount of furries in Battlefield
Who's going to
1.
start this conversation? Everyone on this couch except me has played some Battlefield 1.
So the cool thing about Battlefield 1 is that it still has guns,
I mean, yeah,
and
that's
you
a selling
still
point.
point those guns at other people,
And you pull the trigger and,
and
it shoots a bullet.
you kill them.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good stuff. What do you guys want to talk about now?
There have been some killer glitches. Okay, anyway, like seriously.
Well,
That's Battlefield tradition.
No, but like,
Really,
I'm assuming
yeah.
we've all seen the GIF of the blimp,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
exploding and spinning
tornado
into
spiral. Like yeah,
Like,
the
what is
hellstorm.
that? Okay, anyway, sorry. Battlefield 1, tell me about it. I almost picked this up instead of Mafia 3, but I ended up going with Mafia 3. Talk to me.
Okay, so it's got
Ready with
a-
this shit. I
What
need,
shit?
I need a new PC.
Oh,
Oh
sorry.
yeah, I'm playing on PC on this in this footage.
No, I'm talking about what?
High CPU usage. Never mind. Continue.
Oh, well, anyway. So yeah, the first off, the campaign, it's not bad. It's separate, disconnected stories. They're not
Which I
interconnected.
hear
it's not
works
repeated
in its favor.
characters.
Everyone I've heard talk about this game so far has said the campaign is actually, for the first time, maybe worth playing.
Yeah, I mean each little mini campaign. It's only like a few levels long.
Yeah, like a
you
little
can probably
vignette.
beat
Yeah,
like each
it's-
one in about an hour.
It's not like
So it's-
a
and there's
single
6
story.
It's not a single story.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's different campaigns that cover different aspects of gameplay that are different parts of the war, different characters, different whole like completely different.
Some
But
are
they
more
have-
interesting than others.
Yeah, there's ones that are definitely better than
The
others.
the uniting theme of them all is that it's World War One, and that's about it.
Gotcha.
But like when you do the Lawrence of Arabia one, where you don't actually play as Lawrence,
No,
You play as
you don't
plays as,
actually,
like, second as
Yeah, you don't play as Larry. You play as some lady, but it's really open ended and kind of like stealth driven, and you can kind of approach it how you want. Like it feels kind of like almost like Metal Gear Solid 5 or some shit like
Ooh.
that.
The
Which is very
pilot-
different than like this is the part where you're the plane guy and you're like always in a plane. You never
Yeah.
Well,
get out
no,
of the
no,
plane.
the
They're just,
pilot
like,
has
plane
that level
mansions.
too, where
Yeah.
you crash behind enemy lines and you have to stealth your way back to the
through no man's
to the
land.
English
Okay,
front.
I
like-
probably didn't get that. I was kind of hopping around.
That was a cool
so-
one though.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Yeah, it's a the campaign is a really like almost overly cinematic experience for me though. Like
Overly cinematic.
like I mean, for instance, the first part of like the intro to the campaign is the Harlem Hellfighters.
They're fighting on the Western Front.
Right, fighting on the Western Front. but that level doesn't really have a goal or objective to it. All it is different battlefields where you're placed in the middle of a battle between American and German forces, and when you die, it puts up the name of like one of the Harlem Hellfighters who died with like their year of birth and death, and then it moves you to a completely different battlefield, to a completely different battle, and you do it again. You keep fighting people, and there's like narration going on over it's a very cool cinematic effect, and it's a really interesting way to kind of like convey the emotion of the story they want to tell. But gameplay wise, it is just shoot until you die, then shoot until you die, then shoot till you die.
Just
like
for that first level, yeah.
Yeah, there's no checkpoints, there's no objectives. You're not even really moving anywhere. Like you're not going anywhere. You're holding these like fortified positions.
Yeah,
I mean, when you
cinematic.
load up the game and you start it for the first time, it goes straight into that. It doesn't go into a menu or anything. That's basically the tutorial to teach you the basic, simple.
Wait, when you load up the
mechanics.
game, it takes you straight into gameplay?
Goes straight into that level. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll do the screen with the
That's
title.
weird.
Well, it'll do the
Welcome
screen
to
with the
Battlefield
title.
1,
You hit
goes
X, and then it starts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's that. I mean, that whole level is designed to shed tone and show what like it was 100 years ago. And that's probably an over dramatized version. With everything going on with the artillery and just the sheer destruction of the Western Front. But I think it does a decent job of setting up kind of like what the game is trying to tell you it's about.
Okay.
Yeah, I think story-wise, like it's doing something really interesting and really cool, and they're treating the subject of war with like kind of a sense of respect that you don't typically see in a lot of modern war games. Like they're definitely focusing on the kind of humanity of the whole thing and like the cost of war instead of just trying to make like soldier
yeah.
dude
Like-
bros look cool. You know,
It's World War One. You kind of have to.
yeah.
You,
I mean,
you can't,
yeah.
Bro, World War One.
Yeah, you can't really do that though. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
like
sure.
I think it's the fourth campaign in which you play as an Anzac soldier that's storming the beaches of Gallipoli. And if you know anything about Gallipoli, it was an invasion of the Ottoman Empire in 1915, and it was a complete and total failure. And,
I did not know anything about the invasion of Gallipoli.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah,
Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's a
Gallipoli.
defeatist story.
Gallipoli.
Well, I think it's cool that they're
Gallipoli.
focusing on maybe some of the, maybe some of the lesser known.
Yeah.
History is not my best subject, especially when it comes to World War One. So I don't know about all the different battles and whatnot that took place. But it seems like that it's cool. It seems like their approach to it is like depicting some of the lesser known.
Well, no, they really don't do that because it's really kind of handpicked what they do. They've got 2 missions that are focused on the Western Front. Mm-hmm. Actually, 3 of them, including if you include the pilot one. You got one that's in the Middle East with the Ottoman Empire and the Bedouin tribes. And
Lawrence of
really,
Arabia.
you got and the Italian front, and that's about it. There's not that much variety as to the World War aspect of it.
Did
You don't get anything from Russia. You don't get anything from Japan and the Pacific or anything like that. Nothing in North Africa.
So they've cherry picked.
Yeah, it's really just it's cinematic World War One.
Yeah.
It's not what
Did you finish the whole campaign?
Yeah, I've completed all the missions.
It's not very long.
The thing that I'm taking away from this game most, the stuff I'm thinking about when I'm playing this the most, is this is probably going to be the framework on which the next
Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront is built, and like trying to use this as like a gauge of like what that game might look like, and.
But when you
For
say
the
like
single
that,
player or the multiplayer?
For both. I mean, like I think the next Battlefront they've reached a point where they understand that they have to do some kind of story mode for the next Battlefront.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna. I think while they were doing this, they were thinking about like, well, what is that next Battlefront gonna look like? And I think they might be using this as a test bed to test a lot of those.
But when you
If they
say
do a
ideas.
Star Wars game with like multiple like characters and you're kind of hopping around, seeing their stories, would that be compelling to you? I guess.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I'm trying to figure that out, and I think one of the reasons why maybe they did this game the way they did, and maybe even picked the setting that they did, is that there's a lot of parallel between that and a lot of like the inspirational like source material for Star Wars. Like they're going to look at Star Wars as they did even with the first Battlefront and with this game as being like that cinematic battle experience, you know? Like they want a battle in this game, they want a battle in Battlefront, they want a battle in the new Battlefront to feel like a cinematic experience. They want you to be that dude with a rifle running across a field, explosions going off all around you, planes flying overhead. Like they want to capture all of that. So a lot of the gameplay is kind of bent towards making that. And because of that, you kind of get some of these weirder, more controversial changes, like we were talking about before the show, where you all of a sudden don't have like this, you know, you don't have these vehicles just laying out on the field that like any dude bro can go jump in and start flying around and acting a fool in. Like they try to control the separate elements of the battle a little more and try to maybe even keep them separated.
Yeah.
And that's why you get like with Star Wars Battlefront and with this game, that's how you get those new mechanics where like
Maybe it's not shooting a wing.
Yeah.
like
Why are you shooting directly through your own plane wing?
Because there's no collision.
but you get
friendly fire
yeah,
in the
you
game.
can't like shoot, you can't do like what Sean Connery did in Last Crusade and like shoot your tail out.
Do you have the ability to shoot your machine gun through a propeller?
No,
Well, I mean, no, they'd invented the
that never was like
gear
a thing.
No, they did. They invented a certain gear that timed it. So
right, but they weren't like shooting their propellers.
Yeah,
out
but that was
before
also
that.
very early on in World War One, and all these missions except for Gallipoli take place in like 1917, 1918, towards the end of the war.
But what I was trying to say, let me finish, is that those elements of the battle are controlled and like separated. That's why you get things where you can't just run out on the field and hop in a plane. You have to spawn into a plane if there's one available when you're respawning, you know?
And that's also
Which-
a balance thing. Because,
No,
I mean, in classic
yeah.
Battlefield games, when you capture a control point in the multiplayer,
But
sometimes
there-
you would spawn a tank that spot.
There are plenty of games that have vehicle combat that balance how many vehicles can be on the field at any one time.
yeah.
And Battlefield's done that
without
well, too.
gating that off. You know, like even like Halo or something like that, where like there will be one tank, and if you destroy that tank, there's a big cooldown on it coming back. You can't ever have a situation where you've got too many of one thing on the field, but at the same time, those vehicles are still just like elements in the environment that you can completely interact with, instead of it being like almost this separate gameplay experience that's happening parallel to the guys on the ground.
Which I don't
Well, what
like.
I'm
You know.
talking about is the balance of teams, to where, you know, again in my Battlefield example, tank spawns, potentially one team could be steamrolling the other and it be in control of all the possible vehicles on the map. And
Yeah.
if you didn't have that spawn system where they come in off the map and players spawn into them, then
There's no way to get. There's
yeah,
no way
right.
to
The
get
enemy
each
team
other.
could take
Well,
your
like-
tanks, and I guess, but like
just because of some balance issues
I
when
don't
you're
think
getting
that's-
steamrolled, like to have a core aspect of like any first-person shooter with vehicles on the maps just taken away and changed into something different.
sacrificing some of
kinda
the
sucks.
mechanics of the gameplay just to like
And are we talking-
maintain this like kind of cinematic feel of balance, I think maybe is
I think
in the
maybe
direction
they
I agree
just didn't
with.
want to have.
But
Are we talking about the? Are we? Is the difference we're talking about here? They basically having the only way to access vehicles is to spawn into them instead of finding them physically on the map and
Yes,
getting into them.
correct.
Okay.
right,
That is the
yeah,
way to
like
do
they
it.
don't.
And you can't
it's not
land
like
a plane
past
and get
games
out.
where it's not like past games where like the vehicles just spawn with players on the battlefield and then it's like a race to like who can get to the plane first and get in it. You know, it's more like the map screen will tell you when there's vehicles available, and if you want, you can spawn into them. There is some limited functionality with like getting out of vehicles, but you can't really like land that plane, get out, do something, get back in it, fly away. Like someone can't like take the plane from you. Really, you know, you can't do a lot of.
And that kind of removes a whole element of the game that I think was
Right.
actually really cool. Not that I was ever really good at flying any of those
Well,
vehicles
sure,
or taking,
but
but like
it was fun.
but that
when
race
a
to
bunch
try
of
and
dudes pile into a helicopter, having no idea that pilot has no idea what they're doing.
Right. And then that guy just kills everybody.
and I can see why that would be kind of a bummer. I mean, I can also see the added benefit of it. It removes some of the stress of whether or not you can. So, I mean, half the time I was playing the game, I wanted to get into a vehicle and I just couldn't because I wasn't the best player on the map. I wasn't going to be able to get to it in time.
Yeah.
It means something different though.
I know,
That sense of vehicle
but
ownership
that-
is different.
Yeah, but that fight to get it was meaningful.
Yes,
And
yeah, absolutely.
The scramble on the field. I mean, it's the same. It's the same reason why like Halo multiplayer, like old school Halo multiplayer, was fun because it was always a scramble to get the rocket launcher.
And controlling,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I'm not saying that kills it for me. Like I had a lot of fun while I was playing the multiplayer, and that sense of like cinematic scale that they're obviously shooting for, they do a pretty good job of achieving. It's really cool. I'm just looking at this and kind of like thinking the long game ahead of like, okay, well, I would expect the next Battlefront to incorporate some of these changes and less of like a lot of what I think people want to see from a Battlefront game. Like I think a lot of what people were really into with the first and the second Battlefronts from like PS2 era. Like I think this game right here is telling me that DICE isn't gonna go back to that.
Yeah.
Isn't going to incorporate those elements. They're aiming for something completely different. Which I mean could still be really good, but this will forever be new Battlefront.
So I mean, have we officially talked about? I mean, I know we kind of subtly alluded.
Yeah,
to
we've been
multiplayer,
talking about the multiplayer for a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, this is multiplayer footage we're doing right now. It's from the new mode called Operations, and
which is pretty cool.
I really like it.
It's a cool setup for like a
it's-
meta game for the whole thing.
It's kind of a meta game with like a semi-meta story built into it, in which you're playing out these mini campaigns of two teams, battling over the field. You got the attackers trying to capture these 2 points simultaneously in this sector, and when they do, they move on to the next sector and capture those
Isn't
next
that just
two.
Rush?
It's kind of like
It is like
it's
Rush, but you're capturing.
Did you
flags.
play Star Wars Battlefront?
No, but I played the Bad Company games.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know if that's. But like in Battlefront, they had those giant battles where
Yeah,
you had
yeah,
one
yeah.
team
I played
attacking
enough
and
of
they're
it.
just capturing. They're capturing
Like HOT.
sectors of the battlefield as they go,
Like HOT.
and they win if they get them all. The defenders win if they can stop them before they get the last
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
right?
But-
So you're doing that, but you're doing it. You do multiple rounds of that on
Yeah.
different maps, and they stitch it in with like this kind of almost History Channel like thing of like the American forces pushed across this front line on December something blah blah blah, and then they go into a new battle. And if your match is turning out differently than the way like history actually went, they kind of point that out and they talk about like, oh well, historians speculate that if the Germans had been able to cross this line by this point, the war might have gone completely differently or something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's interesting.
And every time you start one of these up in a level, they give you like this cinematic overview of the battlefield, and it's just characters talking about their experience of being in those conflicts. But what I really think is interesting is that so if you're a defender and you're able to successfully stop the attackers in a level,
Yeah.
that ends that round. But if you're not moving on to the next level, the attackers get reinforced with a new vehicle, and it's either in the form of a huge ass Zeppelin that's armed to the teeth, an armored train for certain missions or certain maps, or it spawns this dreadnought offshore that's basically like a fucking battleship, and the attackers have full control of that the entire time.
Yeah, it's like
It's
a
like-
hard point of turrets that like people can spawn.
You remember
into and
the
shoot.
the AT-AT walkers in
You mean the AT-AT walkers?
AT-AT, AT-AT, whatever.
AT-AT. What do you call the ATSTs?
ATSTs?
Ats.
Yeah. You don't call them ATs.
What do you call ATPTs?
Well, either way, you remember in Battlefront how they were the primary focus of walker assault?
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine taking those and actually make them controllable by the player.
Well,
There's more than just like a power-up.
You can't really like fly those things worth a damn though.
No, but you can fly the Zeppelin, you can move the ship, you can move the
but
train.
like the Zeppelin, like there's not.
You can move the train.
You can kind of
Yeah.
like adjust
Along the
You
track.
can kind of adjust its pitch to the left or right a little bit. Like I don't know.
No, you can move the Zeppelin all around the battlefield. Same with the Dreadnought at sea. You can do that. Train is locked into a rail. I mean,
So you can fly the Zeppelins in this game?
yeah,
Yeah,
But can other people get
feel
on the
like
Zeppelin?
it's- Yeah.
Yeah, they can.
Oh,
board
I
it.
was telling you about that one GIF earlier, right? There were people fighting on top of one of the Zeppelins, and the sniper was watching him, and one of the dudes fell off, and the sniper was tracking the guy as he fell and shot him out of the sky.
Yeah,
That's amazing. See,
And
that's the
That
shit
was
right there
kinda cool.
that makes me love Battlefield.
Yaw, excuse me, yaw, not pitch.
and that mechanic also ties into the rest of the multiplayer.
Avionics.
Like for Conquest and I think Rush sometimes, to where if the losing team is losing by a certain large percentage, then that team gets that behemoth, that Zeppelin, that train, that dreadnought.
Do you think that the way the vehicles work kind of reduced Battlefield moments a little bit?
No,
I haven't necessarily seen a shortage of amazing gifts coming out of
I mean,
out of this game.
it seems there
You're
have
not-
been
you're not-
there have been some. There have been some.
Oh my
But
God.
nothing yet that kind of matches like the way Battlefield 3 got, or like even Battlefield 4. Like I feel like some of these changes they've made are trying to create that cinematic Battlefield moment that you're talking about, Brad. Or what they think you're talking about, but what you're really talking about is like the gonzo impossible shit that you see people do.
Yeah.
That like maybe would
like getting out of an
that would look
airplane.
really silly against this backdrop, you know? Like like doing the flip with the jet and falling
Yeah,
out of the
the
jet,
lip sync,
firing the missile, and then like as the jet falls under you, getting back in it and flying away.
It's
Like,
just that-
I don't know if anything like that's really possible in this game.
Maybe they just really
It might
don't
be.
like the idea of, hey, this vehicle's gonna pop out of nothingness.
Yeah.
You know, and they
It's
don't
just
like
not
the look of
cinematic
something like
enough.
that, and that's why they don't do that anymore.
They wanted to make it feel authentic.
that could be a reason. I think it's more
You
just
could
a,
drop them out of the sky.
Did anybody see the GIF of the? I saw it on Reddit the other day, and it was from Battlefield 1. It was like it said patience is a virtue, and like it was a guy about to run into a building.
Yeah.
And then he saw someone coming through the window, and he stopped, and he like ducked down, and he waited under the windowsill,
And then
the
12
door
guys
opened.
came out.
No, well the door opened, and one guy ran out, and he like went to shoot him, and he stopped, and he waited, and then all of a sudden, just like 10 or 12 more dudes came running up behind him and were shooting in the other direction, and he was like, all right, and just threw a grenade right in the middle.
And killed them all.
Like,
Yeah,
killed
yeah.
all of them.
Yeah,
See, it's
especially
shit
when you've got like squad spawning where like one guy will run into an area and then a bunch of people will just
I
spawn
almost
on him.
feel like my favorite part of Battlefield, almost more than playing it, is just watching the fucking amazing gifts that come out of it over time.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
That's what's great about. That's what's always been great about Battlefield.
Because I feel like I'm never gonna be-
I feel like some of these cinematic changes they're making though are gonna gonna kind of curb that a bit.
Yeah,
That's my concern.
I also feel like I'm never gonna
the
be good
game's only
enough.
been out.
I'm never gonna be good enough at the game to actually be like responsible for some of those amazing moments. I feel
Yeah.
like.
I mean, they happen, man.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, during the beta,
it's nice
I
to know
was-
that somebody's out there doing it though, right?
Yeah,
During the beta for this game, I ran into a glitch, and I was broadcasting this, in which for some reason it didn't want to spawn with any fucking guns or anything.
Oh, you had a Carlos moment.
I had a Carlos moment, and so I'm running around the map, and I find this stationary cannon, and I start shooting guys at a distance. I'm actually fucking killing people, because stationary anything in Battlefield games up to this just sucked.
Oh.
Yeah.
They really did suck, but now they're powerful.
No, this one
and I shot a fucking plane out of the sky with one.
It's really
I mean-
satisfying. Like there was one match I played where there was a German sniper who was holding a point because there was a big tall building next to it and he was shooting out of it. It's still really fucking Battlefield as fuck and still really satisfying to just run up to that point, jump on the howitzer that's like across the road and fire a shell at that building and just blow out the whole corner that guy's in. Like you can still do shit like that in this game.
Yeah.
and
So
that stuff's really
so
fucking
destructible
cool.
environments are still
Oh
very much
yeah,
Oh,
the,
yeah,
the
that's-
destructible buildings are still here. There's just like you're not running around with like rocket launchers and like C4 packs and shit. You've
I
got
feel like at some
You've got
point,
those little like
dynamite, you've got
potato
howitzers,
mashers and
things
shit.
like that.
well, I
you
feel
know?
like at some point in the Battlefield history, like it went from like I remember when Battlefield Bad Company 2, I think it was, came out, or maybe it was even Bad Company 1, where it felt like the selling point of that game was holy shit, these environments are destructible as fuck.
Yeah.
And I thought that was for the longest time because I was just kind of getting into the Battlefield franchise. I was like, so that's Battlefield's thing, right? Like destructible environments. And then I feel like over time that just became less and less of a focus. Like I remember playing Battlefield 4 for quite a while. I don't even remember destroying any fucking buildings or walls or anything.
You gotta pay further attention, because I mean that's de-emphasized visually, but it's still there. It's just not the forefront focus. because
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
just
of the
weird because Bad
craters you'll
Company
find
2
in
is
a map
marketed, like-
are man-made. They
Yeah.
happen from players.
I mean, yeah, but
You know,
like,
you're
when you look back
blowing
at
up most of these buildings, just completely leveling them.
But when you look at the marketing for like Bad Company 2, it was very much like destroy our fucking world, and it was just like every
Because
trailer.
nothing,
No,
because
no,
very
I
few
mean-
games like that
Yeah.
back then had ever had
think,
that tech.
I don't think this is quite on that level.
Yeah,
Like, there's still destructible buildings, and it still happens like at cool moments, but either because of the types of weapons that you're using, or because they kind of curb that a little bit.
Or the
like,
nature of the
it doesn't
maps.
feel like I don't feel like the building has completely fallen apart by the end of the match. Which, you know, in older Battlefield games, I was like, that was a thing. Like
Yeah.
everything just got leveled. You know,
You know what we need?
but y'all are enjoying it, right?
it's fun. I
really
was
like
renting it. I took it back to Redbox,
I almost picked it up instead of Mafia 3.
but it was cool.
Almost. But I didn't. Not because I didn't want to play it, just because I figured I'd probably get more
I don't have enough
mileage
time.
out of.
I don't have
Mafia.
time to get into another really competitive online shooter, you know?
I really
Kind of like
wanna-
I don't have time to get into another huge open world story based.
I want to say I've
but I
put,
did
like,
anyways.
20 hours, 25 hours in this game thus far.
Only 300 more to go to catch up to the division.
Well, no, I'm at 420 hours,
That
actually.
is ridiculous.
Not including the PTS time. But no, the problem, and you brought up the Division, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
But I wouldn't have brought it up if you weren't here.
The problem for me in this game is that in the previous Battlefield games, you could kind of level up relatively fast. I mean, the game, like in Battlefront and then Hardline, and I think even 4 before it, it would give you an estimated time for how long it would take for you to hit the next level.
Yeah.
In this, once you hit the walls that would slow you down, it'd be like level 40 or 50. You hit this wall at like level 15. And it starts
And it
to
just
take like
forever?
at least like an hour and a half for you to level up once.
Well,
And there's no like real challenges in the game to help you boost your score.
It's just do the same shit you were already
Yeah.
doing. It's just going to take a hell
And
of
the
a
game
longer.
and the game does have those Overwatch style loot packs that you can get, but the problem is these battle packs. First off, you can't buy them. You can't buy them through currency or microtransactions. They don't
Good,
do
because
that.
you shouldn't do that.
And you shouldn't do that. That being said,
a
I
bad
probably
thing.
put like $80 into Mass Effect 3.
Good lord.
But hey, that's
Well,
not as
wait,
bad
that
as some
after
Team
you
Fortress 2.
paid the 60 to
but
buy
I
the
mean,
game?
like, I could understand putting that kind of money into Team Fortress 2, but like Mass Effect 3, really?
It was really good.
I mean, it was fun.
It was
but
really
like
good.
$80 worth of
Yeah,
fun.
it was really good.
He put
Chris.
he $140 into Mass Effect 3 when it was all said and
yeah,
done.
probably. But the problem is that the way you unlock battle packs in this game, a lot of people don't really understand how it's done. It's kind of randomly
I didn't get a
done.
single one.
It's not set to whether you're doing really, really good in a map. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, it's the Destiny approach of, fuck you, maybe you'll get loot.
Yeah, I mean, I've across 20, 25 hours of play, I've probably gotten like 7 battle packs maximum.
Well, you know, if you buy
And
the
even then,
premium
what you-
pass, they give you 5
Oh boy.
right off the bat.
And it's random fucking shit. And the problem is, it's weapon skins. It's nothing else. There's
So they're
no
useless.
Yeah, there's no XP multipliers like there were in Battlefield 4. It's really just skins, and you can sell that for a minimum amount of scrap, which is the in-game currency, and you can use that towards getting another battle pack.
I mean,
But it's so low that it takes you for fucking ever.
I guess that's a step in the right direction away from what Star Wars Battlefront was doing, though, where they would show you the entire menu of like guns, and you could just pick one and pay real money to unlock it.
Yeah, and that's not a thing in this at all.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, overall, I'm liking the game. I have some problems
cool.
with the progression system.
Get some good buzz. I do want to. I do
I love
want to
being
try
a
it.
medic. I fucking love being a medic.
Dude,
in this
everybody
game.
plays medic from what I've seen.
I
like-
rarely see
What good is a
medics,
map full of
honestly.
medics, people?
Well, because the medic's the only one that can actually revive people. Like,
And-
it's the only
and
one
he
that
But
can.
if everyone's a medic,
Well, I mean, the medic. I mean, there's not a huge difference between the classes, really.
oh, that's
The medic starts off with like a bolt action rifle, like semi-automatic bolt act, or no, it's not bolt, semi-automatic carbine,
Basically, yeah.
and can revive people, and that's like super helpful, and can throw out med packs, and that's
In
super
Bad
helpful.
Company too, man. Medics were so OP. They had those LMGs that could just fuck people up, and then
All
still
these
survive
maps are
them.
so like huge and open though that like having a good mid-range weapon is a lot more helpful than having a fucking turn of the century like submachine gun that just sprays everywhere. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
All right. We need to move on from Battlefield, but perhaps we'll revisit it in the future, or maybe at the end of the year when we do our top 10s. Who the hell knows?
Who the hell knows? Titanfall came out today.
I don't. That happened today.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. I don't need to really talk much about. I started Dark Souls 3. It's happening. Gift bread. I'm playing Dark Souls 3.
How many bosses you beaten?
Are you? I have a question before he
one.
talks about bosses.
Okay. Wait, you have a
Are
question
you-
directed to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this game finally correcting all the sins that were caused by Dark Souls 2?
All right.
The Sins?
I will say this.
Wait, did you not like Dark Souls 2?
No, I like
Who
that.
likes Dark Souls 2?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Brad.
He's trolling.
You're
Don't give
fucking
in. Don't
ass.
give in. He's trolling. I love Dark Souls 2.
Fuck you.
I love
Brad.
Dark
Jaeger
Souls
likes
2.
Dark Souls 2.
But let me
you,
just say this. Having spent about 3 hours with Dark Souls 3 so far, and this has been said before, but like, it feels like a really, really good blend of like Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow. Yeah.
just like the quickness of the character, the speed, like just the pace of combat. I don't know. It just it Dark Souls 2 felt a little sluggish, I think. Just in terms of character control. I did spend almost 70 hours with Dark Souls 2, so
I would say
Well-
that
I loved
Dark
it.
Souls 3 is a lot more forgiving than Dark Souls 2 in terms of like for example, Estus Flask, you
yeah. Oh my
It's like
god.
super
well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that was my biggest problem with Dark
well,
Souls.
like I
2.
don't know if that's an improvement so much as is just a change. I mean, they definitely in the past they definitely didn't want you to drink it that fast, and they changed it to where it's a lot more fast. You know, I wouldn't call that like they really like fixed that problem. That was just a design change they
it was
made.
faster in
Does that
one.
make
balance
sense?
change.
It was faster in one. They changed it in two, made it really slow, and then in three
Well,
they made it faster
base
than
it
one.
into on your adaptability
Yeah.
stat, but yeah.
that weird.
So they've gotten
stat that
they
nobody
basically
fully
they've
understands.
scrapped that adaptability stat, or at least they've tweaked it so it doesn't affect your Estus Flask at all.
But I'm
which
just
is nice.
saying,
Well, they used
it's
to
not
do
like
it-
they sped it up like you speed up a frame rate or something.
I remember
It's just-
in Dark
it's
Souls 1, it got to a point where a lot of people said the strat was don't heal unless you're ready to do like 2, because you can drink 1 and
then
then,
hit it
the
again.
second one is like much quicker.
I want to tell you a true story. There was a NeoGAF thread about a week ago, a few days ago, I don't know, where it was like, you see these threads a lot. Like, what do you think is the biggest gap in quality, like a drop of quality loss from like one game to like a sequel, right?
And they said
First one
1
that
to 2.
popped in my head was like
Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry 1 to 2. First person, I think they probably said that. And there's a lot of games that are like that, going from this entry in the series to this one, a huge drop off. There was handfuls of people sincerely saying Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 2 as like the biggest drop in quality in the history
That's
of video games.
insane.
Those people
insane.
are children.
Like,
That is
it's
insane. Dark Souls 2 is an amazing game. I loved the hell out
I'm
of
just
it.
saying,
A lot of that's people
these
who put
people were
300 hours into the game.
sincere. These people were
But I don't even like
sincere.
if you can't play Dark Souls 2 and tell me that's a bad game, because that game
No,
is
it's
fucking
not.
fantastic.
But I think a lot of people who make that claim also do it with the unspoken caveat that even the worst of the Soul series is still better than most games.
Well, there was a thread about the biggest drop in quality in the history of video games.
those people are just being dramatic. Point is, I'm
Yeah.
playing Dark Souls 3. I got the Firelink Shrine. Haven't done much past that though. So
So you haven't started Dark Souls 3.
But have
I
you?
know. I know. I got to the first area. I got to the
You
area.
beat the first boss.
I beat the first boss. Got to Firelink Shrine. Went to the first area with the
Have you
dragons.
died yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I disappointing you? Yeah, I died quite a few times. I was a little bummed they didn't give me a trophy for Welcome to Dark Souls. I thought that was kind of a
Yeah.
staple.
That was a very Dark Souls 2 thing to do, though.
But they did that in Dark Souls 1 too.
Did they? I
Yeah, I
don't think
think
they
so.
did they?
Have you seen the Matthew Matosis video? The structure is not as complex as Dark Souls 1.
Jesus.
Fuck off.
God damn it, Brad. Anyways, I'm gonna keep playing. If you want to catch me playing more Dark Souls 3, you'll probably be seeing it a lot on my stream between now and the end of the year, because I do want to get the whole point of playing Dark Souls this year was so I can get through 1, 2. It's just so I can play 3, and now I'm on 3, so I will be playing that a lot.
You go up to get to the Iron Keep, yet there's lava.
Yeah. That world doesn't make a lot of sense, but what are you going to do?
That's a good point. All right.
Bad game.
I played.
bad game.
game.
I put
Bad game.
7 hours.
You go up into a volcano.
I put 7 hours into Civilization 6.
Whoa.
That's not a lot.
How many
That
turns
is not
that?
a lot.
A
And
Civ
You're
game.
not allowed
I
to
had
measure-
to stop.
You're not allowed
I
to-
had to stop.
You're not allowed to measure that game in hours. You got
That
to
was-
measure it in turns.
That was 7 hours straight. That was like
No.
260 turns.
You measure that game.
I was about
in tears.
halfway through a run. I don't know if I can do this game. I don't know. I have put over
Only-
400 hours into Civ 5, but when I play Civ 5, you know, I devote an entire weekend to it. It's what you do because it's the one more turn. It's the one more turn. You keep doing it. Keep doing it. You don't stop. And I started Civ 6 on a Saturday. I came home, started about 6 o'clock, and I played 7 hours straight. And I realized I'm about to pass out. I haven't eaten since I got home.
Sign of a good video.
What am I doing to myself?
Sounds like Brad with Diablo.
Oh my fucking god. The game is good, like any other Civ game, but oh my fucking god,
It's
I don't
Say
know-
the word.
I'm 31 years old. I don't know if I can do the one more turn anymore.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
too
I mean
old
that
for this
shit's that's
He's
just
too old for
scary,
this
man.
shit.
It's-
I am too old for this
Don't
shit.
say that because you're too old for that shit. Anyways,
It's really
I just want to briefly mention that I started Mafia 3 last night. And I got through the prologue, I guess. I mean, I got through the part where like the major story event happens and it kind of sets up the game.
Paint it black.
Painted Black. I got through Painted Black. So and I'm
It's dope, right?
dude, fucking easily
It's
some of
cool,
the
right?
best fucking acting and writing and
The story is really the strong point. Of that game.
really
You
fucking
keep-
good.
telling me that I want to play it.
And I will say, you know, it's obvious
the
it's an
division.
open world game. It's an open world game that's not made by Rockstar. It's going to be glitchy. I am fully expecting that to happen. But I'm actually pretty impressed by like some of the animations are really really nice and like some of like the action flows really well. There's that part where you're running through Mardi Gras from the cops. And I was running down this back alley and I saw a cop come around a corner and running towards me, so I kind of cut off to the left and I saw someone like a back door. And I just like ran for the door and I hit the button right as I hit it and he like burst through the fucking back door into this like person's shop. And this guy was like, "Whoa, what are you doing? I'm calling the cops!" And he like opened the door
And
and
you
started
shot him in
screaming,
the face.
started like, yelling, and then a cop comes running in the front door. I was like, "Oh, son of a bitch!" And I had to like bolt right back up. Like, but it all happened so fluidly. I was like, that whole sequence where I was trying to evade the cops was like really cool.
You've experienced the game at its best, though.
Yeah,
And now you're at a part where it becomes the same shit for the rest of the game.
But then again, how like?
But there's
so
still
does the same thing happens to fucking like. I mean, we talk a lot of really great shit about Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto, but that, you know, at some point that game is still boils down to the same thing over and over again for the most part.
Someone who just played a lot of Vice
the
City-
The story missions of Grand Theft Auto usually tend to.
There's a lot of
Do a lot of
variety in
different-
that.
I am expecting there
Yeah.
to be some repetition here, but again, this is coming from someone who played all the way through the Saboteur and fucking loved that game. Played all the way through Mad Max, fucking loved that game.
Sure.
I tend to really, really, really take a liking to maybe the B tier open world games. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, then compare it to one of those and not Rockstar,
Not
because
to mention-
Rockstar really does a good job of variety.
Yeah, sure. And not to mention, like I've said for a while, I've been in kind of a gaming rut. Nothing has really grabbed my attention, and this is the first new game I've played in probably the last 2 months that I've
That's
played.
good.
And I like
Came up and grabbed you by the balls.
grab you by the balls. I played that first mission where you're sneaking around, and I choked this guy out, and I was like, I'm gonna hide the body. I'm just gonna dump it in the water, and I just kind of like
then a
pushed it,
crocodile
and then fucking crocodile ate him. I was like, okay, I wasn't really didn't think that was gonna happen, but cool. So
Cooliosis.
I'm gonna keep playing Mafia 3. Pretty excited to play that. Like I said, man, the fucking acting in that game is awesome so far. So I hope they can at least keep that up. Like,
Go kill some white supremacists or just some old racist people.
I'm looking forward to
So
it.
good.
All right,
Shove your knife through their fucking head.
I
right.
also want to briefly mention that I beat Cluster Truck. Very fun game.
Can you beat it? I still want to play that game. Real bad.
Dude, it's so good.
I do
It's
wanna-
so
I feel
good.
like that's a game you could squeeze in before the end of the year, no problem.
Absolutely.
I wanna play
This
it
is
now.
this is maybe a 4 or 5 hour game maximum.
If you're good, right?
You know, I
You
don't
could
know
be
about
that.
that.
Chris
And I
Davis could have
also
played it in one sitting.
I also beat Origami.
Oh.
That game is pretty good.
We talked about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
That's a
I've
game
not
I
had
wanna get
chance.
to.
I have not had a chance to go back to that. How'd you end up feeling about that game?
It's very. When I play like stealth games like that, I'm very pacifistic. So I didn't go around killing anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So I was constantly save scumming and checkpointing and trying to get through it.
That's not how
So
I do it.
it's not like what you would experience,
No,
but
no.
I still did enjoy it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I also started a Hitman. I finally started playing that. So
Still waiting
On console?
Still waiting on
No,
the game
PC.
to finish.
Okay,
Hitman.
thank God.
Hitman.
Hitman. All right.
Hitman.
Unless there are any objectives, I would like to just jump straight into community and read some Patreon questions.
Do it. You won't.
Nolan's gone. He'll be back. He'll return next week. Take back the reins. Chris
He
Davis.
left this morning saying he was going to the store to buy cigarettes. I'm sure he'll be back any minute now.
yeah. Bernadette.
Chris Davis. Thank you for pulling these questions for this week in Nolan's stead.
I could just hear in my head just 3 hours from now, he's gonna fucking yell that he hasn't set this up yet.
Yep. It's coming. All right. So our first Patreon question. By the way, we answer questions from our supporters on Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/4Player. If you support us at any amount at all, $1 or higher at all, doesn't matter. You can ask us questions every week, and we'll answer as many as we possibly can on the show. So our first question comes from SMG Sterling. He says, "Spooky question time."
Ooh.
Precisely. Thank you. He says, "A curse is placed on you, and you are now haunted by a ghost every minute for the rest of your life. However, you get to pick who you want to be the ghost haunting you. Who do you pick, and why?"
You get to pick which ghost haunts you?
Yeah. So, are we picking like someone we know to be already dead, deceased?
Yeah. Could we pick
Oh.
a famous
Somebody
person
in the
who's still
future,
alive?
maybe.
Are they like, can I pick a sexy ghost?
Do you really want a sexy ghost? I feel like,
Yeah. Like one that's naked all the time?
You want to be like,
But you can't do anything with a ghost.
don't you?
I don't care.
Ghostbusters.
If I'm going to
Yeah.
see a ghost, if I have to see a ghost, might as well be a hot naked lady.
what if she died a horrible death but she's still naked?
Hot naked lady.
Is she like a headless naked lady?
Because that might actually.
Do you
be
actually?
close.
Do you have a dead naked lady in mind?
Who's a hot dead naked lady?
Anna Nicole Smith.
No.
I feel like this is in poor taste because I don't want to start naming off people who I think are hot that I also know to be dead because I feel like that's just kind of
Who are hot?
disrespectful.
No, who are some hot dead women?
Don't censor us, Nick.
Brittany Murphy?
Brittany, well, she's not like hot.
Okay, maybe that's more disrespectful than me.
I mean,
on,
she's dead. I'll give you dead, but it's not like
Would you
a
say she's
banging body, Brittany Murphy?
What the fuck are you talking
No,
about?
I'm just saying, like, Brittany Murphy's ghost doesn't strut into a room. I mean, she's a different. I mean, she's not.
She doesn't have a banging body.
No, this
Because it decomposed.
that's not what I'm saying. She's a beautiful.
All right, this question is too much.
No. She was a beautiful
we
young
can't handle
woman.
this
She was a
maturity.
beautiful young woman. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying if you want a naked lady coming in, you were thinking of like a pinup or some shit, right?
Sure. I mean, this is you. This is all for you. I wasn't gonna go the hot and naked lady ghost route.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you want like Marilyn Monroe coming in, right?
Sure.
Not Brittany Murphy. I mean, that's like that's the ghost you'd have a conversation with or something. Like, oh, how was Eminem in 8 Mile? Is he really as intense as people say? You know?
No, he's not.
I'll never tell.
What the fuck is even happening?
That fucking movie where she wouldn't
I
tell
know.
Michael Douglas the code or whatever. I never saw that movie. Did she tell?
I don't even know what's happening.
Is Audrey Hepburn still alive?
All right, is it
Why
clearly
do you look at me when you ask that question?
because you're the
You're
old
an
I'm the
old
old man.
person, yes.
I'm the old man, even though you're older than me.
but you're the one who likes Werther's originals. All right,
You're an,
Who doesn't like
I,
a Werther's original?
I would pick Graham Chapman because he's so like because
A
his whole
man?
career. Yeah, I'm that dude, right? Does he have to be naked too? Or?
Well, I'm just saying, like, man ghosts are not even that scary.
No, I the reason why I think Graham Chapman would be a good one is because like
Does he have to be naked?
like if he was like trying to be all like scary, it would kind of be more like a Monty Python where like he plays, you know, a serious like authority figure, but he's just like kind of goofy anyway. Like I think he would try to be scary, but it would just be more
Oh shit!
like okay, just leave me alone for a
I
minute.
got one. Kind of playing off yours. I want the ghost of Chris Farley.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he's just being Chris Farley, like breaking through tables because the table doesn't break because he's a ghost.
Yeah.
He
just, like,
by the river,
Yeah.
just all day.
Yeah.
No, he just tried to possess you and go out and buy coke.
Oh my god!
But he's
Okay, that's not cool.
But like, what if as part of his eternal afterlife, he's forced to relive Beverly Hills Ninja over and over again? And
Oh,
that's,
God.
that's the only Chris Farley.
Why? All right, I'm moving on to the next
Is
question.
Winona
is
Ryder
hell.
still alive?
Yes, she
Okay.
just was in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Winona.
That show that you watched and praised.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right,
Robin
that's right.
Williams would be a good one. But then I'd just be sad all the time.
He'd probably get annoying. I mean,
He just never stops talking.
What?
I mean, it's a haunting. You don't want nonstop like shtick.
You know, you'd be in the middle of playing a game one night, and he would come into the room, and he would start
No,
being
okay.
an esports announcer, just over your entire playthrough.
But it's okay. I'm moving on. To the
Shut
next,
the fuck up.
I'm
Next
moving on.
question.
I'm moving on to the next question. That was a weird one, guys.
Thanks, SMG.
Jarove says, I think
I want Casper.
I may have pronounced that wrong. I apologize. Jarove says, fast travel mechanics aside, what are some games with a hub world system that would be better off with interconnected worlds? And conversely, is there any games with connected worlds that benefit with a hub world system instead?
Wait, say that again?
Fast travel mechanics aside, what are some games with a hub world system that would be better off with an interconnected world? I guess he means like an actual open world.
Oh, my answer for that one would be I think Destiny would be way cooler if it was just one giant interconnected world instead of a hub world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was going to say like Final Fantasy X, because that was the first game. I went from 7, 8, 9 to 10, and I love 10, but that's the first time where it wasn't really like interconnected in the same way that previous Final Fantasies were.
Yeah.
And I always loved the world in 10. I loved Spirit, and I would love to be able to kind of experience that the same way I did 7, 8, and 9,
yeah.
where I was just going out into the world and
But you
Exploring
can
it.
walk from one end of that game to the other, can't you?
Final Fantasy X?
Yeah.
No.
Like you can't back.
A couple.
I mean, it's
recent
not. It's not.
examples-
But I mean, it's linear, but it's a place.
A couple recent examples I would point to are Deus Ex Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. You know, because you are going to those various different cities and stuff like that.
Huh.
But if it wasn't those hubs and you could actually just travel there, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, Dishonor was like a hub-based world, but it'd be cool
Yeah.
if that was just open-ended.
Do we?
Or like Hitman.
So
or
do we know that Dishonored 2 is not like that?
I don't know.
Dishonored 2 is like that? I
Yeah,
think.
Dishonored. It's gonna be the same, I think.
I'm,
See, that's
I'm
kind
gonna-
of
I'm
that's
on a
kind of
blackout
a,
for that game
that's
right
kind
now,
of a bummer
so-
because
I
like
don't think that's a bummer though. I think
it's
that
fine.
game works well like that.
it does, but like
The problem is when you start focusing too much on open world shit for a game like that, you end up with you end up with something akin to like Metal Gear Solid 5, which not that was bad, but it was really different from what maybe you would want for a
way they
purely
handled
stealth
that
game.
too is
like-
wasn't great. I mean, I feel like you could do the. I think Metal Gear Solid 5 was like you can
too much.
more do.
Let me
in
quick
between.
finish because he left a note kind of on his thoughts. He said I was listening to TB's video on Shadow Warrior 2. Who's TB?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. TB's
Total
video
misfit.
on Shadow Warrior 2, and he mentioned how having a hub world makes it not as exciting as the first one. It makes me think back to the world design in Dark Souls series and how they changed in philosophy in Dark Souls 2 drew quite a bit of flack. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this design philosophy, which we just provided. Next,
I like an internet-connected world. Well done.
Internet connected world.
interconnected.
world.
That's the way I like my world too.
Next question is from Miklopa.
Miklopa.
It says, since Halloween is around the corner.
Wait.
What?
Can we not move on until we get a heartfelt Miklopa from at least one of you?
That's
two?
true. Yeah, I feel like you haven't sent a question in a while.
Miklopa?
Miklopa. Thank you.
Miklopa.
Read the question.
Even though it says MIKROPA.
Wait,
Miklopa.
was that? I thought that was a typo.
Have we been saying it
that's
wrong
actually
this
what
whole
it
time?
Oh, shit.
What is
oh
this?
shit!
What is his
this
name?
is not Micropa. This is Micropa.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
We must
Are
have
you sure?
Did we
Yes,
ban
I
Micropa?
copied and pasted.
Ah, Micropa.
What is this?
Micropa.
Micropa.
We got someone. We got someone moving in on me.
It's the audio to the
Micropa
audio.
got banned.
Micropa.
Let me read his question. It says, since Halloween is around the corner, what was the best and worst costumes you've ever used?
Oh God.
Best and worst costumes.
Best and worst costume.
Oh,
Best
my
was definitely
best-
full-time Twitch streamer. Which, by the way, that video went up of that parody, and immediately I got a tweet from
Bobby?
Chingy, who just this week became a full-time streamer, and now I feel really terrible. He was like LOL, but you know,
It's all in good fun.
he's the nicest guy in the world, so I
Look
would
what
not
you're
want.
about to become.
Oh man,
Look upon your fate.
but yeah, that's the best.
Honestly, I've never really gone, full on into like. I love Halloween, but I've never loved Halloween because.
What
I
about
love
that time
dressing
you were
up.
Prince Charming?
Oh, fuck you. That is okay. That is the worst.
Wait, you were Prince.
Shut up!
Charming?
Well,
You
you're
haven't
telling
seen
us-
the
No,
picture?
we don't get to gloss over that.
Yeah, no,
Oh, ask Nolan. He has
It's
a
time
picture.
for the story.
When? How old were you?
This was because of
He was
of
so
This was
dashing.
because of a certain ex-girlfriend who wanted to be
A certain
Snow White.
ex-girlfriend who
Wanted
I
to
would
be-
know.
Yes, who wanted to be Snow White. That's
Is this the
Nope,
girlfriend who did or did not like to suck?
okay. God damn it, Crispy.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Moving on from this question immediately. That was the worst costume, though. But hey, you know what? I'll say this.
My worst costume.
I'll say
is-
this.
I was a Ghostbuster once. It just didn't.
Oh, dude, my best costume is my actual like screen authentic Ghostbusters uniform. My worst costume is the Ghostbusters uniform I bought at Halloween World or Halloween Town. Or
They're
whatever
both
the fuck it's called.
Ghostbusters. Guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that the one you did? Like that cheap little like painter smock that has the Ghostbuster symbol on the chest?
No,
What was it?
I just said it. I don't know.
My best one
It wasn't
was
that jumpsuit that came with the inflatable
I
proton?
had the trap.
my best one was I did a Chris Redfield from Code Veronica one time.
Specifically from Code Veronica. What is different? Okay,
He's got the black vest. He's got the cargo pants with the.
You just wore
the
some
holster and all
tactical
that.
gear.
Yeah,
What
but
does
no,
it do with
no,
fucking tactical
I had the
'Cause
back.
It's black. It's tactical.
I had the back embroidered with the logo that he actually has on the back of his
stars.
vest.
Is it the stars?
Yeah, the stars and all that. Yeah, I actually put some effort into it.
Okay.
Cool.
My
So
worst
you
one was
can
when I
cosplay.
did Bill from Left 4 Dead 1. Because I went to Acon. You know, it was like the year or two after Left 4 Dead came out. And
Which one was Bill?
he was the old grizzled, Vietnam vet guy. The problem was
Remember, he died in
He's
the
got-
expansion.
he's got the beard. And so I decided I've never grown out a beard.
Oh,
before. Might as well try it. And so I let it.
no!
I thought, okay, maybe I can get a passable beard if I just let it grow out over a month.
Oh.
And it was just the absolute worst thing. I can't grow a beard. I just can't.
Man.
Not in a month.
No.
So what'd you do? Did you just do
A
that?
month?
I just did that, and I went and I looked like a fucking hobo. It was
month?
terrible.
He does
That's
kind of look like a
hilarious.
hobo.
All right. Next question comes from
Micropa.
Mr. McRolin.
Magoo.
I don't. Is it?
I think he's in Europe. I think he
Mr.
showed up at
McCrollan.
the end of my cast.
He is a new supporter. He says,
Nice. McRolin.
a recent supporter. He says,
Way
"Hey
to
guys,
be.
I'm gonna read his whole message because this is his first time writing in.
'Kay.
Hey guys, first time poster, long time listener. Lately, I've been noticing a trend regarding developers and lazy, unfinished, or just generally clunky PC ports of AAA console titles. A couple of examples being Batman: Arkham Knight, GTA 5, Mafia 3, and Just Cause 3. It seems that devs are developing titles first and foremost with the consoles in mind, and as a result, the PC crowd is usually left with an inferior version of the same game for the same price. As a finishing note, I just want to thank you for all your hard work you put in the show. I listen to the podcast any chance I get, and it's been a pleasure following you guys over the years, watching the site grow to what it has become today." So I guess he just wants to know what our feelings are about
Nice.
the lazy PC ports. It's kind of frustrating for
It's a
me.
shame.
For
I
someone who
wouldn't
is for someone who has always struggled, especially around a bunch of people who consider themselves PC gamers 1st you know. I mean, that's kind of what y'all look like.
What y'all look like?
That was,
Oh, you're one of those stationary console players.
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Likes to sit in front of his TV,
But
but he could be out in the world.
but you know,
like having the option. That's so ridiculous.
go fuck yourself. But as someone who has always played console games first and having people always try to convince me to play more PC games, I gotta tell you that is terribly off-putting.
Use your hands.
I mean, the problem. I mean, granted, the PC port of GTA 5, I wouldn't say is a bad port. In fact, I think it's pretty good,
that's
actually.
a great port.
Yeah. But he points to Arkham Knight. I actually had a good experience
Well,
with
Arkham
that.
Knight was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Well, for a lot of
Yeah.
people, yes.
I don't
Personally,
know.
I didn't have a problem.
See, that's so weird. Like,
that
how can
was
some people have like a smooth experience?
He can't see more than
Because
30
that's
frames.
that's the problem when you develop for a PC. When you develop a console, you're only focusing on three things. You're focusing on one OS in hardware, one OS, one hardware, one OS, one hardware. You know, PS4, Xbox One, and Wii U.
For PC, you're trying
there's
to...
only
PC,
three specific,
You've got to
like-
you got to factor in number one the various OSs for the hardware that you're getting.
processors,
Different
graphics cards.
processors, motherboard, RAM, video card. There's a whole bunch of things
some
you got
of
to
it's just like the
factor in.
I believe
simplification.
it's pronounced wrong.
The simple. I just want to be able to pop a disc in and play a game.
No,
you know
and that's
what?
the great thing about
That's the
consoles.
beauty.
That was the great thing about consoles because it's no longer like that. Because now you got to install the game or you got to download it. You got
But
to
you
Day
still-
one patch.
But
Yeah.
it's still
Got to
simpler.
be signed into your account.
Yeah.
Oh, you went offline. Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Console gaming sucks now, but that's okay.
Hey, you know what?
Video games.
Gaming in general just kind of sucks.
Sucks.
these
Video
days.
games were a mistake.
Video games were a mistake.
Nothing but trash.
Any other thoughts?
What was the
I mean, like I was saying, it's not a matter of laziness. It's just the focus of your development. You know, you're going to be focused primarily on a proper SKU.
Not to mention,
You're gonna have a suite of tools that will get it converted to work on these other OSs. But when it comes to PC, you got to consider so many things that sometimes you just can't make it happen properly.
I think the important thing here also to distinguish is a lot of PC ports are actually being handed off to different developers for porting.
yeah, that's also a problem.
And it's not necessarily being lazy, but it's handing it off to a completely different team and saying, hey, make this game that we made on console. Well, we're going to go off and do other things. Make our game run on PC. And it may not be a team that's maybe as experienced or as capable or just have the resources or the team size or whatever, but it's a question of priority. Like,
Yeah, it's also
Synergy.
what about PC ports that launch after the main console's versions launch? I mean, it's that conversion time and that production schedule that they may not have accounted for or had enough time to put into the proper PC version.
Also, how can you talk about the convenience of consoles when you almost had a breakdown because Gears of War 3 was taking 2 days to install when I could probably have downloaded off of Steam or wherever they have
Windows.
it. But I could download a PC game off Steam in like a third of the time it would take
Well,
to install
first of
a
all-
disc you put into a console.
first of all,
So
that's more of a complaint. Well, yes, Gears of War was especially egregious. That's a complaint since day one I've launched towards the Xbox specifically.
Well, yeah, PS4 has got
you could
some
pop the
install
same
times,
fucking
too.
game with the same amount of the same. Like I popped in Mafia 3, and it was installed in probably 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Fucking like I haven't had a single game on my PS4 that's taken longer. I think the longest I've had to wait for a PS4 game to install maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops.
But hey, check this out. On last Friday, I rented Battlefield 1 from the Redbox. I popped that disc in. PSN was down. I couldn't install day one patch. I couldn't play multiplayer on a console.
Yeah.
Sucks.
And you got to play
So,
this-
by the way, everything I played with that single player was before day one patch. Or,
Hot
I think
damn.
it eventually installed, but yeah.
I heard that.
yeah.
All right, we need to move on to the last question of the night. Comes from Justin. He says, in lieu of the silly world of Final Fantasy, what games have you ever watched and been like, there is no way in hell I'm going to play this or I'm going to like this game, but when you play it, you're like, holy shit, this is great. For me, it's League of Legends.
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta.
Yeah, like when I didn't know anything about Bayonetta except what I could see, I was like, that looks dumb as fuck. And then I played it and was like, this is fun as
This
fuck.
is some dumb shit.
World of Final Fantasy is a game that I think looks as dumb as hell, but I finally played it, and it's a baby game. Sorry, what was the question?
Hitman was like that for me as well.
Oh, fuck you, Brad. You've lost it.
you get it.
I'm not rereading the question.
Some people like that game. No. So it's one that
AKA
you think you're not gonna like, but you play it and you like it.
You look at it and you're like, holy shit, this is a baby game and they're going to like this. And you play it and you're like, well, actually, this is pretty good. You know, for me, one would be, I'd say maybe Final Fantasy X-2. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I played it, I was like, this is pretty dope, actually.
Yeah. I mean, that game's got its problems, but its battle system was
Battle
great.
system's great.
Dresses
the
were
dress
dope.
sphere system was awesome.
Pain.
Music was
lame.
great.
That's a question that definitely requires some thought, but it's a good question. It really is a good question.
Well, if anyone thinks of an answer to it, you can always.
I didn't
bring
think
it
I
back
was
up.
gonna like Suikoden because I thought the graphics looked so lame, and the cover looked really lame. But the graphics, I remember when I first turned on Suikoden, the characters were like almost like I was used to playing like RPGs with like super deformed little characters, right?
Yeah.
You know, in Suikoden, like the characters were like tall and stretched out. Now it's like, what is this? They're like skinny and like normal people, and I thought it was so dumb. And like, and the animations were terrible in that first one. Like it looked like a fucking Super Nintendo game. And this was after. Was it after I played Final Fantasy VII or maybe before? But it was probably after I played Final Fantasy VII that I played the original Suikoden, and I was like, "What is this shit?" Now you go back, and even Final Fantasy VII looks terrible. That game's a mess.
You know,
Prince of the Universe Valhalla is a great game.
Nier is probably a game I'd say when I first saw it. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know about this.
It just looks like butt, you know.
But it grows on you.
Oh, for sure.
Even the way it looks kind of grows
yeah,
on
for
you.
sure. It's got a cool look to it, for sure.
All right, thank you guys so much for your.
Eco. I thought Eco was going to
Oh.
be so boring. I was like, there's no real combat. All you have is a stick, and you're solving puzzles.
And the whole
I thought it
game was
gonna
a
be
fucking escort mission.
I thought it was going to be so bad and boring, but it wasn't. It was great.
That's
I love
true.
that game.
That is true. All right. Thank you guys so much for your questions. And of course, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/4player if you're interested. I think now we're going to wrap up the show with the 4-player minute, as we always do. Brad said, oh shit. I take to mean that means he's
I'm
ready.
I'm ready.
He's ready. You're gonna do our hype, sweat, thank you, and fuck you, unless we, of course, choose to do something else otherwise. Brad, take it away.
My hype is for a game or two games that Gameplay sent me today, or yesterday. One was Titanfall 2, which I'm very excited to try. You know, I'm gonna play the single player for sure. Maybe
I hear the campaign is really good.
I'll hop in some of that multiplayer as well. But I'm also hyped for a game that I don't even really know what it is. But it's been getting pretty good reviews, and I know it's some like horror adventure game RPG, or it's like I don't even know. It's like a survival horror adventure. I don't even know what it is. It's a Vita game called Yomawari Night Alone.
What?
But like it just came out for Vita by Nipponichi, and I've Gamefly sending it to me. But it's actually getting good reviews, and it looks kind of cool. So I'm gonna broadcast that when I finally get that.
Is that the studio that did the Disguise games?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they do a lot of stuff these days, but fuck you. I wrote down something I don't think that's right.
This is me.
Well, it says work. Oh, I know what. No. That's not my fuck you.
You're done.
Oh, okay. I know what it is. My sweat is my wedding, which is a week from now, more or less.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I've still got plenty of work to do. Oof, jeez.
Okay, well, now it's not a good time to just sit there and reminisce in your mind.
Yeah.
My thank you are to all the lovely people. Finally started like purchasing stuff off my wedding registry. For a while there, it was just Chris Davis, and I was like, man, fuck these people. They don't care about me. Well, we finally got some people purchasing some nice things off our wedding
I don't
registry.
have
If it
your
makes you feel any better, Brad,
It's on Amazon.
my
Just
best
search
friend
my
is
name.
getting married next weekend, and I haven't bought his gift yet. So,
Oh god, is that next weekend?
yeah. Same day as Brad,
Same
remember?
day.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
I'll probably buy
Well,
y'all
maybe you
at the
should wait
same
till the
time.
day of. To find.
Hey, that worked out fine the first time. Actually, second time.
What was it? It was day of, right?
It was day of. Don't. Well, I hope Nolan.
No, it was the day before. It was the day before. Nolan's not listening.
Oh, he probably is.
Son of a bitch!
Well, you can wait till the day of my wedding, Crispy, if you would like to give me something. But my fuck you goes to whoever it was at work. Somebody at work. And, these people don't know I work, but y'all do.
Yes.
They outed my wedding registry somehow. Like, I don't know how they found it. They knew I did an Amazon registry, but they found it. And then they showed everybody in the office.
Oh.
Oh, and you had that.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, so Brad, tell me about this action figure. Because I had that fucking Samus on my wedding registry. And no one at work knew I even liked video games, and I was happy with this.
And now the cat's out of the bag.
And now they think I really want this action figure, which was a Samus.
They don't know you at all, do they?
No. Well, they do now, man.
They do now.
They do now. I had my supervisor text me, you down with 4PP?
Yeah, you know me.
Oh shit! It's totally out of the bag.
Which is horrifying because they don't just know about 4Player podcast. He knows enough to know that we're called 4PP, and that's fucking freaking me out, man.
School time.
And you're deciding to talk about this on the podcast.
So when is your 6-month review?
Oh my god.
Oh, well, no, they're probably. I mean, no one who doesn't actually care about video games has the attention span to watch anything related to 4Player podcast for more than like 2 minutes before they get bored. But like, fuck,
You're gonna get like a shit ton of Samuses for your wedding.
No.
Like, what is this mountain of Samuses? I just wanted one.
No, they called it a Metroid. It must say something about Metroid in the title, but
What's a Metroid?
It looks like MGS2 may have found her.
Wait a
registry.
minute. Metroid's a girl?
at least they're not calling it a doll.
Yeah.
That's true.
That might be a little.
I don't think they know it's a girl inside the suit.
Wait till you tell
Because,
them.
I mean, that's the classic thing, right?
wait till
no
you
one knows that it's a girl inside the suit.
You get to be the one to tell them and make their minds
No,
go.
it's a tough dude like a G.I. Joe. So that's just a cool, like, Halo armor.
It's a bro, dude.
All right.
Yeah, it's a bro. That's it. That's it.
All right,
My
Crispy.
fuck you is to whoever from work did that.
Oh.
Beautiful. Crispy.
Well, I'm not ashamed of any of these people saying any of the shit I have on there.
Crispy.
It's just
Yeah.
one Samus.
Alrighty. My hype is for the chance to play some more VR games. I really enjoyed it while we were playing during the Halloween marathon. I can't wait to stream some Batman Arkham VR and possibly some Eve Valkyrie. That stuff should be cool.
I want to see that.
My sweat is for... Oh, I had this. My sweat... Oh, shit. I had this.
You had it.
I fucking had it, too.
Fucking
God
had it.
damn
Your sweat is for your sweat.
No, it was... it's something coming up. Oh, no. It's... my sweat is...
It's your balls.
My sweat is for whatever is for my balls. My sweat is for whatever EA and DICE decide to do with the next Star Wars Battlefront game. I mean, I'm not saying that the stuff I'm seeing is bad, but like I feel pretty confident that classic like Battlefront 2 kind of gameplay will never come back. So it's all about like what's that going to be replaced with, you know?
Yeah.
It could be good. It could be great even, but you know, we have no idea. So that's a little terrifying.
Yeah.
My thank you goes to everybody who tuned in during the Halloween marathon. That was a lot of fun, and it was really great that we had a good turnout for that. Made it worth it.
I'm glad you guys showed up with good attitudes.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I love it.
Chris
I love it
Davis.
when we do what?
Chris Davis played
Oh.
30 seconds of VR. Still a little
It
bummed.
fucked with my eyes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I love it when we do these big kind of event streams, and that was a good one. That was
I
one
had
of
a
the
lot of
better
fun.
ones. And my fuck you for the week goes to you know what? My fuck you of the week goes to GameStop.
Yeah, you worked at GameStop?
I worked at GameStop.
I thought you worked at a non-disclosed video game retailer.
I did
Undisclosed.
until this week. So
Fuck you, GameStop.
fuck those
Burn in
guys.
hell. We don't want your fucking ad revenue. You know you wanted to give it to us.
We don't want
I was there.
We don't want your commission from purchases.
I was there for way too long, and I'm
It's
glad
okay,
to be
Crispy.
done with it.
I was also there for way too long, and you stayed there for about as long as I stayed there.
You're a shit company. We're burning our bridges now.
Yes,
Fuck you. You're
do
never
this.
going back, Crispy.
Let's do this. I never have to walk into another one if I don't want to.
Well, I mean,
That's a thing to think
what if you want to buy like a used 360 game or
That's
something?
True. That's true.
It's $3.
All right.
Sure. I'll buy it from their website.
Yeah, fuck you, GameStop.
All right, Chris Davis.
Fuck GameSpot as well. I don't give a shit. Bring it.
Chris Davis, please
Both
save us.
suck.
All right. My hype this week is for Titanfall 2. It is installed on my PC right now. I desperately want to play it. I wish the podcast would fucking end so I can go home and do this.
Yeah, well, we're trying.
My sweat is for the fucking gaming schedule over the next 6 weeks. I have to somehow fit in. Now, I got in a game for like Gears 3 or Gears 4 and Mafia 3, and I had to find time for those when I'm playing Civ 6, Dishonored 2, fucking Titanfall, and a half dozen other things.
If you say The Division.
A lot of bro games.
Well, no, the next expansion isn't out yet, so I don't know when that is going to happen. But
Years. That's
I'll
one
put time for that.
One that none of us really kind of clicked with yet.
Yeah, I really want to.
I traded it in.
It's crazy. But
My thank you, I guess, is going to have to go to, I'll put to Travis County because I went and did my civic duty and voted today.
Did you
in
take
early
your
voting.
selfie? Did you
did
tweet your selfie?
No, I did not.
Then
Which voting branch
Then you
did you
haven't
go
really
to?
voted yet.
I went to Randall's
Is that
at
what I was doing?
Mopac William Cannon.
Oh, man.
And the line,
I heard
thought-
there was a lot of voter fraud at that one.
Oh my
thought there-
God.
I thought the line was going to be like 2 hours long. It was 8 minutes.
We can't derail
I was in and out in 15
I'm
minutes.
not
can't
accepting the results of this election.
Unless I win. Okay, we can't derail this podcast any more than it already has.
And my fuck you goes to me for being 31 years old and not being able to stand a 7-hour session of Civ.
Yeah, fuck you.
I can't do it anymore.
Did you get tired?
I'm too old for
I
this
was
shit.
wiped the fuck out.
Hey, I want you to know, Chris Davis, I am 30 years old.
Yeah.
I stayed up for 24 hours. Okay, I took
You had a short
I took a
nap.
nap for about 45 minutes to an hour.
Power naps can save your life.
This one did not save my life. That last 6 hours was painful. Which brings me to my 4-player minute, which I'm starting now. I'm going to start it off with my thank you. Goes to Crispy for just powering through the end of that marathon with me.
Oh my god.
It was like it was.
I will deliriously watch you play Fatal Frame 5 anytime.
I
bro.
was like, I was in a delirious state. I feel like I was starting to see things. I just wanted to just curl up and die. And I was playing a horror game, and Crispy just sat there on the couch next to me and just made me laugh and just kept me going, kept me awake, which was nice. Thank
You were
Carried you-
saying
we
some
carried
pretty
each other.
horrific things.
you.
Yeah.
Crispy was saying
Shit
we
that
were
comes out
both
of my mouth when I'm tired.
we were both very tired, and Crispy was saying some things, which he,
I said one thing that was questionable, and I felt immediately
thing?
embarrassed. Okay, let's
He only
move on.
slut shamed her once.
let's move on.
oh my god.
It was horrific, and I apologize to every member of the human race.
All right, my hype goes to
I have to find that
VR.
highlight.
I'm officially super excited for the future of VR, specifically in the more short term. I'm really, really, really excited, and also I guess this is partially a sweat for Resident Evil 7. I really hope
They
that,
actually showed someone shoot a gun at a man.
I know, that
a
clip-
zombie man.
that clip looked cool.
It's
And he
okay.
fell over and he got up a second later and he was
There's
like,
he's
oh
like-
no, now you done it.
He's like a nemesis
I don't
character,
think that
apparently.
happened.
Yeah, he did.
He
Did you not watch
does.
the video?
Oh, he gets
He
back
shoots
up?
the guy in the chest with a shotgun, and then
He's
he
like,
walks,
"Ah."
and then he walks down the hall, and then he hears a noise, turns around, and the guy's standing back up, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get it now," and he's supposedly like a nemesis
He
character.
says it like
yeah,
that.
I think they're
He
all.
does.
So,
I
like,
think
if-
all the
if-
characters
If
are like
Nemesis
Nemesis
was like a racist southern like redneck,
pretty much.
I'm
There's
gonna
only
get
like
you now.
5 bad
Shouldn't
guys.
have done
Anyways.
that. He was just a boy.
Anyways, my hype is Resident Evil 7, hoping and praying the VR turns out well, because I am now very, very excited about the prospect of actually playing Resident Evil 7 on the feed in VR. That'll be exciting if it turns out good. That's a big if. My official sweat, I suppose, is we have 3 months or 2 months left in the year. I've got to play Dark Souls 3. We have Final Fantasy 15 coming out. We have Last Guardian coming out. We have fucking Watch Dogs 2 coming out. We have fucking Dishonored 2
Dead
coming
Rising 4?
I'm not gonna find time for that shit.
I'll play that.
Not gonna find time for
Yeah,
that
you
shit.
will, you X-bot.
Oh,
Shut your whore mouth.
My
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
fucking shit.
and what's wrong with you guys? And
Poop mouth. Poop, poop, poop.
I'm gonna just do another hype, just to spite Chris Davis. My hype: Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah. Despite, is he not?
You're hyped for the blandest character of 2016.
He's upset because
Really?
I'm saying I'm hyped for Watch Dogs 2 instead of saying Dishonored
Davis
2,
is
which
just-
it's pretty obvious. I'm already excited
You're
for
more
Dishonored 2.
hyped for Watch Dogs than
No,
Dishonored?
you're choosing to interpret the
Oh.
fact that I'm using this for my hype in my 4-player minute as me saying
No.
I'm more hyped for it.
Oh.
I'm just
That's not
picking
what I
one.
said. You're just making me sound stupid.
You were implying earlier that you were more interested in Watch Dogs 2 than fucking Dishonored 2, which coming out
You
the same
can hit
fucking
people
day.
with a
How
yo-yo.
could you say that?
You can hit
If
people with
the
a yo-yo
Dishonored
and watch
dude had the
dogs.
yo-yo, would you be excited?
I would totally be excited.
Fuck yeah.
Yo-yo.
Hey man.
It's a billiard ball in a sock, I think.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
no, it's
is
not in a
it?
sock. It's
I
a,
thought it was a yo-yo.
no, it's a
Or is
bil-
it a chain with a billiard ball?
it's
I
a
don't
it's
know.
a
It's not in a fucking sock.
it's a rope with a billiard ball on the end of it.
How
That's
do you
what
tie
it is.
a rope
You
around a
drill a
billiard
hole
ball?
through the fucking
Did he
middle of
do
it
that
and you
because you can't hack that?
That's too much work. It's a life hack.
all right.
You probably hacksaw it.
No, putting it in a sock would be a life hack.
They should do a Watch Dogs where all you do is just use life hacks. You can make cable holders out of bread.
See, that would be a good like Undead Nightmare style expansion.
Just life hacks.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That is amazing. Anyways,
Yes.
this show's fucking over. It's done.
It's done
It
for
is
sure.
done. Thank you guys for
Put
listening.
a fork in it.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget, 4playernetwork.com is the website. You can watch us broadcast games every single night over at 4pp.tv or on Twitch. Same thing. Twitch.tv/4playerpodcast, all spelled out. You can join our community Discord channel. It's free. Discord.gg/4player. So check that out. And you can
Full
support
of
us.
delightful people.
Full of delightful people. It's very active. It's like Twitch chat in your pocket all the time. It's kind of exciting. Of course, what was I going to say?
We broadcast games every night at 4
I already did that. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. We appreciate your support there. And
Download the
that's all we got.
podcast on-
Next week, Brad will be out. Well, Nolan, but we should have Nolan back.
Next weekend, I'll do something maybe early in the week.
Yep. Sorry, my phone.
Actually, I should probably not broadcast it all next week.
Brad's getting married next week. All right. So thank you everybody for listening. Happy Halloween. Thank you to everyone who tuned in for our marathon. It was a lot of fun. We hope to do something else, an event like that in the near future for something. Who the fuck knows? But
Easter!
That was a 24-hour Easter. We play games with bunnies.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Any game with a bunny.
Sexy
Nothing but
bunnies.
I call Shadow Warrior.
I call Final Fantasy 12. All right. Anyways.
Ooh.
Oh, they took all the fucking good ones.
Yeah.
Pony Island.
That game's not that.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next Thursday night, back to our regularly scheduled night for a new video game related podcast. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Goodbye.